Best one.
Mm-hmm. I had some feelings listening to that one.
It's gonna be. That's gonna be.
Which one is that?
Eat Me, Drink Me.
Oh
Eat me, drink
boy.
me.
It's.
Yep.
I don't think I'm going to recheck up on that album before listening to that
Oh,
podcast.
come on! It'll be good. It'll be good.
Mm-hmm. I did the whole thing. I started the album.
Mm-hmm.
I laid down in bed with a notebook,
Oh.
and I just paid complete attention to it the whole time.
Just
and it took me, like reading the lyrics too. I had the lyrics up on my phone so I could follow along too.
I'm sorry. Some of those lyrics are real embarrassing.
So it was a journey.
Woo, boy, there's so much to say about this album, and it's only 11 tracks. It's only 11 tracks, but it's going to be a pretty long episode, I imagine.
It feels like it feels longer than 11 tracks.
It really does. Holy crap.
And I didn't listen to Golden Age of Grotesque, so I was jumping right from Hollywood, which had, it has its issues.
It's a little bloaty.
It has a heart to it.
Yeah.
It has a point.
Yeah. There's a Tengu Gemini, 29 months, almost a whole year. Wowee.
I wonder if I lost my streak.
You probably did.
Oh.
29 months. I'm not sure, is that a streak? It didn't say that it's a streak, but I'm almost sure it is, given that it's Tengu. Because Tengu is a good subscriber who doesn't miss months, unlike some other people.
Listen, fucking... that's weird.
Wow.
What's that?
Well, it says my subscription is not ready for 9 more days, so...
Oh, well, there you go.
Wow. Oh, wait. You've been subscribed to Polyhead for 31 months with a current streak of 1.
What? Rip.
I fucked up.
Rip. So it was probably during that time when we weren't podcasting. It was probably during December when you lost it because we didn't actually do a live show for a month.
That'll do it. Life is good. I really did miss y'all.
Man.
Or even
how are you doing?
The anime episode that wasn't live, so maybe I missed that because it was only a month. It says.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How are y'all doing?
I'm going absolutely insane.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to die. Oh my god. People, but oh my god. I feel like I'm grinding my face against pavement at this point to try and stay the least bit on the bright side. I'm just oh man, this is really taking it out of me. And then last week with all these dumb controller issues, you can't play Streets of Rage 4 because it's fucked for some reason. It's cool, everything that I want to do at this exact moment that would alleviate even just a little bit of this goddamn annoying bullshit that's happening in my life. And none of it wants to work. Fantastic.
Yeah. When things are already really rough, it makes things that could be small in better times, it just blows up in your brain. It's this is it. This is the end.
Yep. We are at the end times, people. It's over.
Mm-hmm. I feel you. At least they're garlic stuffed olives. That brings me joy right now.
I'm not sure where I'm finding my joy at the moment. I think I'm just faking it.
You could try garlic stuffed olives.
I could try that. I could try garlic stuffed olives. That might be the trick.
Walmart started stocking their candles again because they only stock them seasonally. So I bought a bunch of candles and I have an apple pie candle blazing right next to me.
I stopped burning candles because I noticed that anytime I'd clean out my PC's air filters, be like, wow, check out all of this soot. That's fantastic. That's a fantastic thing that I don't want in my very expensive electronic equipment.
Oops.
Check your air filters in your PC, John. They're probably nice and gunked up.
That might be where all that fan's coming from. No, I don't burn them too often. Mostly I just burn them in the bathroom while I'm taking a hot bath.
Living that life of luxury as you do.
Mm-hmm. We got this. Just gotta keep on keeping on.
Just another month. Just another month.
Uh.
Baths are kind of the best, says Tengu Gemini.
I tell you, it was sunny out yesterday, so I actually went out to the park and I laid a blanket down and I was like, and took off my shirt and it was just actually sunning for the first time in months and months and months.
Oh
It was
wow.
really nice. My brother did the same thing. He got sunburned. I found out.
Oh, that's fun. Hey man, at least you can get sunburned still. At least that's a thing that can still happen. At least the sun actually comes out and there's warmth, given that it's fucking May and it was 31 degrees last night.
Oh my god.
We got snow like 2 days ago.
What?
I have
Like,
not gotten snow in Chicago somehow, which is funny.
2020 is literally the most cursed fucking year. I swear to Christ. There's
Oh, yeah, it's
really
there's
weird.
literally nothing that's gone right, and it's just like, are we at the end times? Is this really it? Like, because it's like, why is it fucking summer and I've got snow in my front yard? Somebody's fucked up, and it's not me.
I really like summer, so it's bummed that this as winter's kind of
It's really
spiking again.
Yeah, it's really lingering.
I really hate summer, and now that I have to wear a mask at work, fuck everything.
It's misery,
Oh,
isn't
God.
it? It's misery.
I'm sweating the instant I walk in there.
I saw a funny thing
God.
earlier about how shippers are having trouble getting masks out, but man, they can get you those game controllers out in no time. That happened to me this week. Because I'm running low, right? I'm running low on masks, right? So found the place that had some, and then ordered them. It's like, oh, we'll get those to you in 2 months. But then I ordered a fucking controller from Best Buy, and it's going to be here tomorrow or Tuesday.
Beautiful.
God.
At least my priorities are straight. Might
At
be
least the shippers' priorities are straight.
yeah. Might be able to play Streets of Rage 4 tomorrow. That'll be good times.
That would be nice. It sounds like everyone's having a lot of fun with that one.
It's like, yeah, like I think it's only like the purists that seem to be kind of being big butt mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really make a full assessment. I haven't done a full playthrough of it yet. I've just kind of poked at it here and there.
Cool. And it's made me want to play some. I mentioned that in like the genres I've barely touched, and I barely touched beat 'em ups, and I really want to figure them out this year. Just like get a couple. Like it'd be nice to just like 1cc a console beat 'em up. Like that would be okay. I've made a stride into this.
1cc Streets of Rage 1, man. Like it's the best fucking
Yeah.
OST, and it's like
Yeah,
it's not a hard 1cc at all.
Mm-hmm. That was the one I jumped in like a month ago,
Mhm.
and then I was like, okay, yeah, I get this, and then I got to the first boss, and I was just like, what? What do I do? I don't understand.
Like beat 'em up bosses, they come in a lot of varieties, and about 70% of those varieties are, oh, that's cheap bullshit. Okay,
Yeah.
I just got to learn the loop here. I've got to learn what to do.
Mm-hmm. So that was my realization, is just like, okay, I need to just pop a save state in front of these bosses and figure out what their bullshit is.
Yeah.
And then I can get to the levels just fine. And God, Streets of Rage 1 has that good soundtrack. God, it's nice.
Man, Streets of Rage 2's soundtrack is the one that gets all the love in the world, but I think 1's just, it hits so good. It's got such a thump to it.
Yeah, I can just hear it right in my soul.
Yeah, like it just reverberates. Like the first time I heard that soundtrack, the first time I heard the first level theme, Christmas morning, 1992 or 1993. It's like, oh, this is the sweetest fucking jam of my life. I've never heard video game music this good.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I put it on, it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ! Thank you, Koshiro, as always.
Yeah,
but especially for this.
Yuzo Koshiro is a god among the common man.
It kind of. I might want to try Final Fight. I've never even touched Final Fight.
Final Fight is on some bullshit. Play the arcade. play the arcade version though. Don't play the shitty SNES version.
That's what I was. The arcade version's available on Switch, so I could just play it in one of those collections. I was just thinking like, I had trouble with fighting games, and then I just played a bunch of Street Fighter 2, the original.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, this was made to be accessible to people because it was the first one.
Yeah.
So So I feel like Final Fight might be kind of a similar deal, where it's like, hey, we're sort of inventing a lot of this now.
Yeah, like it's definitely a lot of growing pains because it's a genre that's coming from fucking Double Dragon, and those games are clunky as shit. And I don't care.
I tried playing arcade Double Dragon, and it's rough.
It is misery. That slowdown is not your emulator. That is how that game plays, and that game got popular. That game got popular playing like that. So when Final Fight came out and was what it was an entirely different revelation.
Those sprites are big and pretty.
Oh God, they are. Yeah. Like I think those might be some of the biggest sprites of that time, like when that game came out. So
yeah, it's sort of like Capcom. Like they're not as sort of expressive with some of the stuff. Like they're not going to have like the super detailed fighting game setting that like an SNK stuff will have. They're not going to have that Yuzo Koshiro score. But then they also just like will invent genres.
Capcom is amazing like that.
Yeah. So I think that's playing a bunch of Street Fighter 2 is like, oh, okay, yeah, y'all rule.
Yeah, like
I didn't realize.
Capcom is a company that is where they're at, and they've earned their place in the pantheon of very and it's nice to see that they've been on such an upswing over the last few years with
with all that good Resident Evil stuff.
Resident Evil, Mega Man 11, like they've done a lot of good stuff to be in the good graces.
That's another good comparison. Is like as a kid I was like, what's this Resident Evil? This is stupid. Because I played a bunch of Silent Hill, and I was like, "Oh, I like the cool J horror stuff."
Yeah.
And then you play Resident Evil, and it's Master of Unlocking, and
it's very hokey.
And then I kind of played it again a while later, and I was like, "Oh shit! Wait, this is really good."
Yeah, like again, that's Capcom figuring something out and taking something far beyond, what it originally was. So.
And the doors go places, and when there's locked, you can unlock them.
Yeah. Jill can unlock them because she's the master of unlocking. But
Harry Mason is not the master of unlocking.
Welcome all to another hot episode of the Sockscast. This is the 116th episode. We are putting all up in your grill, and we are brought to you as always by Moon Pies. Moon Pies. It is the Dino's puke. Welcome, everybody. We hope you're all doing well. Everybody out there, they are wrapping up Game of the Decade lists. Those lists are pouring in. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I was doing some banner making this morning, and we hit a milestone. We are at up to a certain point in the thread. I'm not going to say where I'm at because I don't want to spoil anything. Rhett knows because he knows the last list that I grabbed banners for. We are up to 450 unique games.
I think we might double that by the end.
I didn't. A
lot of lists came in yesterday and today.
When those lists came rolling in yesterday, I shit my pants because I'm the one doing the banners and stuff for the site, and I had done a whole bunch, and then I stopped working on it at all for like 3 weeks.
Everybody stopped working on their list for like 3 weeks. So.
And then fucking...
Or 3 months in my case.
And 3 months in John's case. And like, all of these lists started coming in, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of unique names here. There's not a lot of overlap. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, no. So I got up this morning and had and like busted out like 83 new banners. So
holy shit.
Yeah. Excellent.
So I'm going to try and do like 100 a day.
It's going to keep you busy at least.
It's going to keep me busy. I'm not going to be able to complain much. I'll probably still complain.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely.
I'll talk with you after and figure out what images I can send for all my
various
bullshit.
Definitely some of your weird bullshit. Like I remember getting to one of them being a fucking Twine game, and I was just like, John, you're getting these fucking images yourself. Fuck you. I was just so mad.
Oh yeah, John, if you could like have links to those games.
Yeah, I'll get some links to all the freeware games up.
Yeah. Right, so I figured there's so many freeware games on the list. It's like I may as well just do a consistent here, click here to play it.
Yeah,
good.
Because also our games are on there.
Yeah,
so obviously,
and we want people to play them, of course, because our games are great. 2 people picked Facets. That made me happy.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
I noticed a lot of our games appearing on lists, and I'm like, part of me is just like, is that weird? And then
definitely not.
And then the other part of me is like,
we're fantastic.
The other part of me is like, yeah, that game was that good.
Yeah,
it was better than Faerun.
There are some games that are just barely better than Faerun, and some games that are just barely worse than Faerun.
Yes.
Like House and Fata Morgana.
Oof.
Oh, jeez.
Oof. That one hurts. That one actually physically hurt. That one's like, I'm gonna actually make you change your list.
that was the funny thing, because I got to the end of the 40 to 21, and my number 20 was Faerun. Just spoilers. So that I finished that 4-paragraph screed for House of Fata Morgana, and I was like, and next, Faerun!
Oh my god.
Yes!
And, oh god, I hate you, John.
Sorry, I like good games. Y'all.
To my immediate virtual right, so grease up your baby for a ball on the hill. It's Rhett.
Hey.
Hey! How you doing?
Animal Crossing. That's what I've been playing. That's my bed.
And we're done.
Week.
Gonna be an exceptionally easy episode this time around.
Yeah.
Why don't you go in great detail about it and tell us about all your turnip adventures?
I gave up the turnip game. I'm out.
He's out.
You're out of
He's done.
I'm out.
He said, fuck it.
Oh, man. Okay, but now when you get some real good prices, you're going to be like, oh, I thought it was out.
No, so that's the thing, is that now that I'm back to work, I don't give a shit about checking the turnip prices fucking twice a day.
There you go.
It's
nice.
a pain in the ass.
So we got a question in chat. So what happens if someone goes in and changes a lot of their list? Well, we're finalizing lists tonight, but I mean, there's going to be a grace period.
Don't do that, please.
Yeah, don't do that. For one, if you do that, you're an asshole. Plain and simple. But we have a bit of a grace period of a few days. We know some people are kind of nearing the end of their list and they're not quite finished, but they're getting there. So we're giving some people kind of like a grace period of, I don't know, I'd say like Wednesday, Thursday is just kind of like the latest I think we want to go before we start getting everything ready.
This is the deadline.
We are fully committing this time.
I mean,
Yeah, we're giving a little bit of grace period because we know there are a few people out there that want to get their lists in but need a little bit of time or have some extenuating circumstances going on that need a little bit of extra help to get things finished. So
my extenuating circumstances is that I procrastinated.
You're fucking
yeah,
lazy.
There's that too.
There's that lazy. Thankfully, that is not the case. That is not the case for everybody except John Thayer. That is literally just John Thayer's issue, is that he's fucking lazy.
I did not expect it to take 5 hours to do like 20 blurbs. I mean,
it took me 10 hours yesterday to do the last 25. So
yeah, exactly.
See, like, those are like the easiest ones for me. Like,
no, those were the hardest for me. Even the Zelda one, I wrote one sentence.
I banged those last 25 out in 2 hours.
Thinking about every single game on that list made me cry. It was very difficult.
Oh my god. So, to my immediate virtual left, he ate all the rest and now he's got to eat you. It's John Thayer.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm doing well.
I thought you'd like
hungry.
I thought you'd like a Vori intro. I thought that would work for you.
Oh, I thought it was like a going down on people
intro. No. They're both lyrics from the same song. People, I never just divulge where I pull these things from, but they were both lyrics from the same song. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, the two can like synergize. I feel like.
I think so.
Just in my personal experience.
Yeah. In your John Thayer's personal experience, we really, really want to emphasize that. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. I finished another 20 entries and made me really happy because I got to think about all these games that I love.
Mm-hmm. Like, if anything, doing this list has been just like a whirlwind of emotions. Like, I remember going through that last 25 especially was just, oh boy, I feel real strong about a lot of these. And like, you're writing, and then sometimes it's just like, oh man, I'm writing about the house in Fata Morgana, and then like, oh no, all of the feelings are bubbling up. Okay, gonna have to stop writing and cry for a bit. Look, the house in Fata Morgana is really good. Just so everybody
fucking good. There's been a lot of love for that one.
That game has gotten a lot of unexpected love. I was not expecting that.
Imagine if that. I'm not counting. Imagine if that just ended up winning.
That'd be pretty funny, and I'd be down
especially
with it.
Right now, given
this is going to be what I love about how this list seems to be shaking out is going to be the most on brand. Like, this is such a biased and like very colored version of what a game of the decade list would be, because like everybody else is just like the same boring AAA bullshit. Minecraft, here it is.
I mean, I think Minecraft topped 2 of our list, so it's going to be up there.
It's going to be up there, absolutely. But it's just like, I don't know. There's just this weird kind of like, these games have to be big in order to be a game of the decade. But it's just like, yo, check it out. Here's number 4 of the Lonely Wolf Trick series.
Yeah. It got 4 votes.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I think it was just me and Paul.
I think it's just me and John. I think it's just me and John.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're gonna
like,
all end up next to each other.
I think that it's really funny that like our list is gonna have that kind of
content.
Yeah,
they definitely always do. But I think because this one is such a huge spread.
Yeah.
Whereas like when the NES list was like, Mario 3 ones, and then Punch Out. Punch Out was a good choice, but like maybe not that obscure or anything.
No. Punch Out is not what I would have expected, though. Like, and that was
a little surprising.
And it made me immensely happy.
Yeah, because that game rules.
Yes.
Yep. Can confirm.
It's
also where a lot of us make games, and a lot of us are just constantly sucking each other off about how great our games are.
That definitely plays a factor.
So that just means we've got a lot of games that are like weird and out there and weird free itch stuff.
Yeah. So are we going to remember Silas 10 years from now?
Absolutely. I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
That we're going to remember Silas, and we're going to remember Tom's 3 other RPGs.
3 other RPGs that are in the works, and 5 platformers.
That feels like about right. That's 3 years each. Come on, crank them out.
So let's get going. So who wants to start talking about stuff?
I will.
Okay. John wants to talk about. John, talk about stuff. That's what we do.
I know.
On this thing that we do.
Yep. Just the way we say it.
Yep. It's our favorite catchphrase.
So I think last time I had not actually quite finished Silas when we did the call, and then I finished it up the next day. That game's climax is real good.
Oh hell yeah. Big old Lunar, big old Fantasy Star, big old Falcom energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested in all the updates Tom did, because he took a lot of feedback from people who are playing it and made some tweaks that all sounded like smart to me.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna play it in a year and be like, this ruins it.
Yeah, you
I
completely
want the original version.
Why did you fuck it up? That's why I'm keeping the original version installed. I'm gonna keep it OG.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real shit.
Yeah.
Patching games.
He's gonna release Silas Evo, and it's gonna just have all of these big expensive sprites that lack all of the character that the original ones had. It's gonna have a much worse soundtrack.
Oh, but there's Japanese voice
acting. But there's Japanese voice acting for some reason.
Gonna take out the villain's backstory.
Gonna take out the villain's backstory so that it has no impact whatsoever.
Oh my god.
Silas complete.
See, I was gonna do like an anniversary edition of Poly Mario Brothers, where I went back and kind of like fixed a couple things I wasn't super stoked about when I looked back at it, but then it was just like, oh no, I don't remember where I put the original project file.
Oh.
Didn't that whole thing, like the Mario Maker?
The Mario Maker's gone. The Mario Maker got C&D'd, but I still have it. Obviously, but I don't
Is it the same computer. Or?
It's on my other computer probably. The project file is, but it's not on this one. So I don't know why I didn't back that. I always back up my game projects to my site.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Go sniffing around. You'll probably find a bunch of stuff I probably never wanted anybody to see. But I'll
back that up, and sometimes I back up VNs I really like to your site, and then share links with them to friends.
Yeah, that's always good. And then I get messages from my host. Hey, there's this folder on your site that's doing a lot of traffic. You want to check into that? Let us know if there's anything weird going on there.
Socks make people sexy taken down because of Fate Stay Night piracy.
Man, wouldn't that just be the fucking luck? Wouldn't that be like the perfect fucking end? Like John Thayer finally did it. He finally brought Polly down. He did it with Fate fucking Stay Night. His sword of choice was Fate Stay Night, and it was more successful than any fucking hate mail ever was over the years.
So I did finish Silas, and it was good. I think some of those changes sound-wise, mostly like flattening the XP curve at high level a bit, because I kept like I ran out of skills to learn, and I still just kept leveling up and leveling up and leveling
You
up.
beat
So it
that
sounds
game like 40 levels higher than me or some shit.
it was really weird.
How the fuck did that happen? I just fought every battle on the way to the end, and I ended at a level, and you were somehow 25 higher than that.
Did you try to just thoroughly explore every dungeon?
Yes.
Huh. Because it's like, well, shit, I know this is the end of the dungeon, but I didn't do that dead end, like, 20 minutes ago. I should run back, and then I run back.
There was only one dungeon where I was just like, I'm not fighting here. I'm not fighting here. I'm not fighting here. Because there was a bunch of puzzles, and I'm like, I ain't fighting here. I ain't fighting here.
I remember that bonus dungeon.
Yeah. That was
I think that's probably my big complaint, is that the bonus dungeons, there's like 3 of them, and they're very long, and none of them tie directly into like the cast. Whereas, so you'll play something like Final Fantasy VI or something where the Phoenix dungeon ends with like a really cathartic send off for Locke. So it's like, it's this, like, the substance of it is just like this silly fun bonus dungeon you do, but at the end of it you get a nice character climax.
Yeah.
So I think on a future Tom project, that's maybe something to consider. Yeah. Is like,
maybe make those things a little more meaningful toward the actual in-game storyline. Not that the stuff that there is bad. I thought it was all pretty cute and fun.
Oh, I meant more the Black Dragon and White Dragon stuff.
Right.
Disconnected.
Yeah.
Because obviously I love that there's a John Thayer Saga dungeon. That's fantastic.
That's ridiculous. The Ancient Cave is ridiculous.
Ancient Cave is very fun.
The take on Poly Dungeon is really good, and it pissed me off. It pissed me off because it's literally like, I'm gonna make a Poly Dungeon 2, and I'm gonna do an RPG Maker, and this is how I would do it. The motherfucker did it, and I'd never talked about it.
Life is good. So I really like the shitpost dungeon. But yeah, that was like, between the 3 bonus dungeons, that's like almost 3 or 4 hours, and that's right before the climax. Yeah. So I'm like, oh.
So it is a modern video game then.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I really like
to direct the pacing if you want.
Yeah. I really like that it has the option that it has those, that it's not just a straight shot through a straight roller coaster. Mm-hmm. But that's sort of my thinking. It's like, if you do the SNES FF thing where you sort of tie those into the characters a little more, I think that could help. So that's my searing condemnation of Silas.
Damn. It was a 10, it is now a 7, and basically just a pile of garbage.
Mm-hmm. I did cry a lot at the ending. Because at some point,
really good.
Yeah, at some point I kind of vibed with the theming, with all the church stuff and whatnot. I just sort of realized, like, I kind of see what this is going for here.
I had a pretty good idea. Knowing the person.
No, that's my thought. Knowing the person.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was an outright commentary, but it felt like one.
Yeah, that was when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, I know how this ties in with real life.
Yep.
Oh, man. So that was very moving to me. And there's a gay love story that's extremely sweet.
Rachel's very good, by the way.
Rachel is very good.
She's fantastic. Like, she is the kinkster of the year, I think. She is down to fuck and down for everything.
God, life is good. That game was fun.
Very good. Yeah, good.
So I played Tales of Vesperia. I finished that. I played all of Silas and finished that. And then I was like, let's play another RPG.
Oh, jeez.
And I went back and finished Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
How'd that treat you? Because I know that you've kind of been hot and cold on this game kind of the entire runtime. It's just felt really...
It was my favorite of those 3.
Oh, wow.
It turned around.
That's quite a turn.
It turned around in a major way.
Big old face turn there.
Yeah, because I started off really enjoying it, because it was just like a nice little stream of like cool environments and exploring, and it's very open-ended in that first mission where you get all these different little quests you can do. But they're nicely varied, so it didn't feel like busy work. This is why you don't eat dinner right before the podcast.
John Thayer's gassy. He's gassy. He's getting the herblies. He's getting the burbles. John, just
but
do it right into the mic. You know what podcast you're on. Come on.
Exactly. So the first level though is like Terrace. The first planet is like 10 hours or so long. And then you go to another planet right after that, Dantooine, and then you have like another 2 or 3 hours, and then it opens up and you get all these different planets. So the beginning drags on too long for what it is. I think it should get into the open-ended RPG part faster and have the story start faster. And then I jumped right into Tatooine, which is like the most kind of fetch questy. You're just sort of like, I know I need to get to this thing, so I'm gonna. But before I can do that, I have to go get this thing for this person. And in order to do that, I have to go to this place and I have to go to the Sand People. But in order to get into the Sand People's camp, I need to get this robot. In order to get the robot, I need to get this money. And then, so like 2 months ago, I jumped back in and I just tried to get through the Tatooine quest. And it was just a bunch of fetch quests. And I got to the end finally feeling like very uncharitable. And then I hit a boss that was like 5 times harder than anything else. And I got wrecked. And I like kind of lost like an hour of progress because I'd saved into a place where I couldn't get around the boss. So I had to revert to an earlier save.
That's bad.
So all that came together and I was just like, fuck this game. I am out. I am done. This sucks. So I did come back to it after I was like, I finished Silas. I haven't dropped a game that I've started in earnest in like 2 years. So I was like, I really don't want to break I'm not going to let BioWare break my streak when I finish Suikoden 2.
Right.
Especially a game that's, fairly well regarded.
Yeah, exactly. I still want to get, the reason I like seeing these games through to the end like that, is because so often I will have that turnaround. Like I struggled with Tales of Vesperia for a good chunk of it, and I ultimately kind of liked it. Right. So I got back to the save file. I redid the progress up to the point before the boss, so that I'd be like, all right, I haven't lost anything. We're good. And then I left Tatooine and was like, fuck this. This boss is too hard. And I went to a completely different planet and just like, I'm going to do the quest line here for a while. And then I immediately hit up a hard fight that I couldn't figure out. And I just despaired on Twitter. Like, I don't understand this fighting. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's so fast and the numbers just fly everywhere. And I wanted to switch to easy mode, but I feel bad about it. I don't want to just have it. I just finished like 2 RPGs that were like pretty gentle and chill and linear. Right. So I wanted this to be like, I wanted this to have teeth and to enjoy the teeth for that. But it was so hard. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I had a couple friends that said, hey, you can use healing items from the menu so that there's no delay in using them during battles. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. You can still only use 1 per turn, so it doesn't break it.
Right, yeah.
And there's a pretty... No, there isn't a cap on the healing. there's a very high cap on what healing you can keep. But yeah. And then another friend that said, you can just like tap space and pause it at any time. And you can just do that like every turn and just have it be turn-based basically. I was like, oh, that sounds nice too. So then I went back and right at this fight where I was like, I'm going to switch to easy mode. This is too hard. And then I beat that fight and I got through the rest of the game no problem.
Oh, weird. Just like one of those weird difficulty spikes that kind of makes the rest of the game seem impossible.
No, the fight was a normal fight. I just had to understand.
Oh, you just had to not be a dummy.
I just had to not be a dumbass, and then I got through that fight, and then the rest of the game was no problem. I hit the level cap actually.
Oh damn! And
you probably would.
The level cap is what, like 20?
Yeah, you probably would have finished it at a 14.
Yeah.
And like, what the fuck, John? Where'd you get all that experience?
Yeah, where'd you get that?
So there was just like, so I just played, and then I played the rest of the game in like 20 hours over like 3 days.
Oh wow.
I just mainlined it and it was so satisfying. The level I went to right after was Dantooine. It was the Wookiee planet, and there's like really cool, satisfying story there that involved one of the main characters. and there was like a number of ways it could resolve, and I
Mhm.
picked the one that made the most sense for me because I was like, I don't like that y'all are doing slavery, so let's stop that.
Yeah, that's a bad. Don't do a slavery.
Don't do slavery. It's the same guiding light in Queen's Wish. I
Yeah,
was
like don't do a
these
colonialism.
these folks are well, do a colonial. That's fine.
Okay.
Don't do slavery. That's no good.
Doing a slavery is very bad, John. That I don't think we really have to like press on that too much.
Like in Queen, but if you team up with the folks that are doing a slavery, you get it's pretty easy. You can get some good items out of it.
Maybe.
So, kind of, it's a bit of a quick pro thing.
John, we don't do a slavery to get items.
I didn't do a slavery. I'm
Good.
just saying.
Okay, I'm just saying that you
some
don't
good
do
reasons
that.
to do a slavery.
I'd better never ever hear of you doing a slavery to get items, John.
Oh, but if you do the slavery, you get a purple lightsaber.
Okay, wait. Okay, now you've got me thinking. My favorite color is purple.
Oh god, I was ending the game with 2 purple lightsabers dual wielding.
Nice. You didn't even need to do a slavery to do that either.
I know. I figured out how to upgrade your weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't doing that before, so I started doing that.
Oh, that's probably another good reason of why you were probably losing a fight.
I was like, oh, I can make my lightsaber hit like twice as often now. This is nice.
Oh, that's probably useful.
I can I can get healing items. Oh, this is nice. So there's a number of things that I think come together to make Coder an extremely pleasing video game.
Mm-hmm.
The areas, all the maps are small and very dense. Like, I talked about getting to Dantooine, and then there are like 3 different quest lines where it's like, oh, can you find my son? He was lost in the Underwood. Mm-hmm. And then another person that said, hey, can you go fight off these slavery guys in the Underwood? And another person that said, hey, there's this gate to the star map that you need in the Underwood. And you go down and take the elevator down to the Underwood, and you walk 10 steps north, and there's the corpse of the son, and you walk 10 steps left, and there's the slavery guys, and he walks 10 steps right, and there's the gate to the map, and it's like, yes! It's all right here!
I can guarantee they wouldn't do it like that now. They would make the Underworld like fucking half an hour to walk from one end to the other.
Exactly. You're only ever like 2 minutes from a minute and a half from one end of a map to like the other end of the world, it feels like sometimes.
Right.
And that like it's silly, like because it's like
absolutely.
I haven't seen my son in so long. Where could he be? You go down and then walk 10 steps, and oh, there's his corpse. It's very sad. But it's like it's a fun play experience because you're just constantly getting opening and closing these feedback lines, and they're all varied. Like it's not just every world. There's no like, all right, hey, can you go find the 8 coins on this world? And then you go to the next world and it's like, hey, I'm missing my 8 coins. It's all differentiated enough, even if ultimately it's a lot of event flag hunting. And enemies largely don't respawn. And most areas have unique enemies. And so what that means, and fighting is very fast. If it's easy, then it's very fast. If you wanted to take control for a boss, and you can do that. But what that means is like every fight sort of feels like a unique one-off cinematic encounter. Kind of like like Chrono Trigger, or whatnot.
That's from from what I have seen of that game. I have not played it myself, but I think that is an apt comparison, having seen it played. Yes.
Yeah, because all the fights are played on the map too. It doesn't go into an instance. So coming off of something like Tales of Vesperia, where I fight the same random encounter 50 times. Yeah. And then I get to the next area and then fight a couple others 50 times. Mm-hmm. And then you'll get to a new area and there's a recolor of an enemy and you'll fight them 50 times.
And the Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter handled that stuff really well. Nice environmental fights. And they weren't scripted either. Like a fight could just kind of fucking happen. Like you get into it, if you touch the enemy on the wrong side, on the wrong part of this dungeon, boy, you've got a real shitty map to do battle in. Sorry.
The difference being that like Dragon Quarter is like a pretty like slow, smart tactics game.
Yeah,
because that's another genre where you get a lot of one-off encounters that are tailored to the map
Yeah.
are tactics RPGs, but those are also very slow.
Yeah.
You have to think through it, and it's very intense strategically. Coder isn't that smart. It's not that deep. Like once you get past the walls I was on, it's like it's mostly pretty straightforward. The fights get hard when they need to be. It never feels like completely trivial, but they're over fast.
Right.
So all these the fights just are always fun because it's always like a short thing. You're not going to do it more than a couple times. Like there's one enemy they introduce for one map, and you fight it 3 times. Fight a group of them 2 or 3 times, and then that's it for the whole game. In this 30-hour game. So all of that kind of comes together. That this is a game where you're just constantly seeing new things.
Yeah.
Where it's just very, there's never, and you can't really grind, at least not like trivially. Like that's not part of the intended play loop. And all the worlds are different, and you can go to them in whatever order you want for the most part. And then it has like a really big, exciting JRPG climax where you go to like this extremely RPG Final Dungeon floating Doom Death Star fortress.
Nice.
Which again is just full of like little one-off cinematic encounters. It's a very cool arc because you get the sense that the villain is just throwing everything he's got at you because he sends a bunch of droids and you kill all the droids, and then he sends all the Sith masters after you and you kill all of them, and he sends all the Sith apprentices after you. You're like, well, this is easier.
Oh no!
and then he. A really cool thing is that for the last 2 big boss fights, you are split off from your team, so it's just you.
That's cool shit, right there.
It's very
yeah.
So the last, it's very epic. So by the end of it, you really get a sense of this guy that's just like on his last fucking legs, just like scared out of his mind. Not showing it because he's a Sith, so this is all going according to plan, of course.
Right.
But it's very satisfying, and I think the twist with your character's identity played very well for me.
That's cool.
So, and I got spoiled on it like an hour before I got to it in the game. It's great.
What is with people? Why do people not know how to shut up when they know?
It was my own damage. I googled. I wanted to remind myself what happened in a previous arc, and then they just referred to the player character by name. In the wiki. Thanks.
Nice.
Did you get spoiled by Fate Grand Order on a thing in Fate Stay Night?
Oh yeah, I got the UBW's big twist spoiled by a Fate Go ad.
You've done it to yourself. Not that you really did it to yourself, but you've got bad luck with this.
And Heaven's Feels. Don't worry, I got across the board. Spoilers matter to me in the moment, but once I'm past the moment in the game, then it stops being as big a deal. That's why I'm most scared of Trails stuff, because I know that's like 200 hours in the future.
Yeah, that's not going to be like, I'm immediately going to just be able to get past this moment. Like, yeah, I can't go in and tell you something that happens in Trails of Cold Steel 3. That would be very mean of me to do.
So, yeah, it was just a really fun video game for the reason that video games are often fun, which is that they have a bunch of cool set pieces and a little bit hard and pretty open-ended, so you can approach things from a number of angles. And that was a satisfying arc to have, is like getting to the... I think with a lot of games where you aren't familiar with the genre language, the challenge is just figuring it out enough so that you can get to the point where you are just playing a fun video game.
That seems like that was kind of your entire journey with this game. Is like, it never seemed like you were saying that, like, oh, this is a bad game or anything of the sort. It really just seemed like somebody struggling to kind of come to terms with what this genre is, and you were just you were coming to understand a new language and approach a game in a way that you hadn't maybe necessarily thought about or had done before. So it was an interesting seeing all of this transpire.
Yeah, I was really satisfied in the end, and also like my main beef with the game being that I didn't really think the writing was that great, and then knowing that there is a sequel whose main selling point that people sell it on is
that the writing's
hey,
way
we made
better.
the writing good this time.
Yeah, yeah.
Which Obsidian seems to have a habit of doing when they do sequels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, that's literally what they did with Fallout 3
That's
to
what they
Fallout
did
New
with...
Vegas.
Yeah, that's their deal, is they take people's kind of middling things and make them good.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, they also released their games half-finished.
Yeah!
Like, again, with both of those.
I had a couple friends show me exactly which Coder 2 patch to install to
Oh, there you
alleviate
go.
some of that.
I mean, I haven't looked into that, but the fact that fans, like, remade the other half of that game is wild.
That's incredible.
So yeah, I'm very excited for Coder 2. I'm excited for more BioWare stuff, actually, which is a weird thing to say, because I played a bunch of Mass Effect 1 back in the day.
Mass Effect
Yeah.
1...
And I thought that game was kind of bad.
That game does not... I don't think Mass Effect 1 holds up.
I know, but it's, like, required reading for Mass Effect 2.
Not really. It's
Exactly.
just buy. Okay, there is a companion piece that you can buy. It's like It's like $5. It lets you make all the decisions in Mass Effect 1 that carry over, and they tell it in a comic book format. That's what I do anymore. Like if I want to play Mass Effect 2 again, I make the character, and then I go into that piece of DLC for Mass Effect 2. And it lets me make all of the Mass Effect 1 decisions, and then I just transport the character into 2.
Okay.
Because I remembered Mass Effect 1, and I remember it being, A, like, pretty easy, and B, like, the thing with Coder is that it's not an action game at all.
No.
It looks like it could be one. If you squint and look from a distance, it looks like an action game.
Yeah, it does.
But it's not.
But it's dice rolly. It's dice rolly.
They even say straight up, hey... There's no action component here. It's all determined by dice rolls. They have it in a tooltip as if to tell people that are worried because, is this turning into an action game?
Whereas Mass Effect 1 is trying to fudge it, is that it's trying to be an action game, but everything is still a dice roll.
But it's not committing, so it just feels mushy.
It feels mushy.
And Mass Effect 2 just is an action game.
Mass Effect 2 just leans into it being an action game with some RPG mechanics that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just think I wouldn't have gotten the huge revelatory moment of starting Mass Effect 2 if I hadn't played the first one and kind of suffered through those systems.
Yeah.
Like, the story's fine, but, like, the systems in Mass Effect 1 and the mushy shooting.
Just as soon as you start playing Mass Effect 2 is a revelation.
Oh my god. I finished 1 and started 2 the same night, and it was just like, holy fucking shit, like...
I'm playing an actual video game now!
I had at least one friend that was like, oh, it's less of an RPG now, and I'm like... It's the half measure. That's bad. Like, because I think Coder feels great now. It took me a while to figure it out, but I think it feels great. And I think that half measure would feel really stilted and awkward.
Yeah. That's why Mass Effect 1 feels stilted and awkward, because it's half committing to both.
It's also only 20 hours long, so I'm probably going to play it before I...
Mass Effect 1 is so weird when it's like, okay, I have a sniper rifle, I'm shooting enemies in the head, and it's just doing dice rolls.
It's so fucking weird.
God. But I think before I do that anyway, I'd rather play Baldur's Gate, maybe, because I think the 2D dice rolls, I think the dice roll stuff will make even more sense to me in 2D.
Yeah, I think that, you're right.
So I think that all appeals to me, because it's just a little more of that sort of game design stuff that I really liked in Coder.
Yeah.
Because that was the big takeaway. Is like, this is so dense with RPG energy.
Yeah.
To the point where I like don't care that much about the writing or the characters, but I'm still deeply invested because it's just so much fun video game here. So I think the older stuff might be even more of that. Mm-hmm. So that was my Coder journey, and I reopened my heart to BioWare after having it very thoroughly closed for a bit.
Everyone else who keeps up with their modern games is like fucking done with BioWare.
Yeah, we're fucking done. Yeah.
I've opened my heart to Zero's BioWare.
Pretty
like
much.
I put Jade Empire on my wish list. I was like, oh, this is short. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, that's my
cool.
adventure.
That's
cool.
What have you been up to?
So last week was weird because I just went on like massive media blitz, and then I had a lot to talk about on the podcast. And then this week I didn't do anything.
Well,
so I've got the exact.
Hey, there you go. You got the exact same slate that you had last weekend.
It's just a little awkward because it's all a week older, and like My memory, I have a bad memory,
You
basically.
You have the memory of a pot smoker without actually being a pot smoker.
I'm a goldfish.
You're a fucking goldfish.
Swear to God. Anyways, so at the start of this year, I was listening to the Giant Beast cast, and Vinny was mentioning XCOM 2 a lot.
Yeah.
And I got that bug. I want to play some XCOM 2, and it stuck with me for a couple weeks. And then I played Mario vs. Rabbids, which is like the closest thing to XCOM 2 I had that wasn't, just actually replaying the old game.
Mm-hmm.
But XCOM was on my mind. And then I played... Oh, yeah, then I went right into Fire Emblem Awakening, and that's not XCOM at all. That's a bad strategy game.
That's a bad strategy game.
It's a bad strategy game. Also, a bad story.
Yeah, it's a fucking terrible story.
I had a long talk with friends. We were going back and forth saying really earnestly, would you rather have to play through all of Fire Emblem Awakening or have to play all of Suikoden 2? And we were like really seriously discussing it.
I mean, I just played Fire Emblem Awakening of my own volition, so I might still choose that one.
Well, I played Suikoden 2 of my own. I played both of my own volition somehow. Sorry, continue.
Anyways, and then I played, the first half of Fire Emblem 3 times, which maybe was a mistake.
Ooh, yeah.
So anyway, I've had strategy games on the mind lately. And then out of nowhere, basically, they announced a new XCOM game.
Yeah, this fucking thing was literally announced 2 days before it came out. I was like, what the fuck is this?
And so they announced XCOM Chimera Squad and were like, it's coming out like in 3 days. It's a $20 full game. Mm-hmm. And it's half off for the first week. So it's $10. It's like, what? Where did this come from? I wonder if they just like pushed it out as quickly as they could or something, just quarantine stuff, like, hey, here's a new game, $10, give us money.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's a sequel to XCOM 2 that really kind of shakes things up and not evolves the formula, but like does things pretty differently. Like the main thing is that your squad is all set characters now.
Yeah.
And they all have, their predefined abilities. Like, one of them is just a snake lady, and her abilities are, spit acid and coil around enemies to choke them out.
Oh, I like that.
She's very good.
kind of thought John would be very into that idea.
I like snakes.
I actually saw a funny thing the other day about her voice actress. They did not tell her she was voicing a snake.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So she just plays the role entirely straight without doing the whole, like,
the snake
stay with me, like, so that she just talks normally. It's very funny.
That's very good.
And they must have just been totally deliberate in doing that. So the game comes out and she's just like, what? That's my character? That's Torque? I'm a snake?
That's real good.
It's very funny.
So the other thing is that in XCOM and XCOM 2, I've only played the newer ones, so forgive me. Like, you have very large maps, and you kind of slowly advance your units, and, they do fog of war stuff.
Yeah.
And, you stumble onto pods of enemies, like 3 or 4 enemies at a time, and then, you go into full turn-based, like, they jump into cover when you spot them. And, and that can be a little annoying, because sometimes you will trigger multiple pods at the same time.
That's always bad.
And then you have like 8 enemies to deal with. So this game gets rid of that because every encounter is just
predetermined.
Kind of. So basically, one of the big new mechanics is that you breach and clear. So like you stack your units up against like windows and doors, and like they'll give you different bonuses or advantages.
Yeah.
And then you store, because everybody is calling this game X Cops.
Yeah, because like, the way you're
enforcers now.
Yeah.
Dealing with criminals.
Yeah.
So, they storm in and you get like first turn advantage. And so, like, you're just shooting enemies that are all like, what? Oh no, the cops are here. And like it does the dramatic slowdown. It's pretty cool. And then, regular XCOM combat happens afterwards. And then a lot of the missions will be like 3 phases. So you breach the first room, kill everybody in there, or capture. You don't have to kill everybody, but the capture mechanic is funny because you just get tranquilizer as like a modification to your weapons. I just put it on a shotgun. Sure.
Oh, okay.
This is my tranquilizing shotgun. I'm just walking up to enemies, shooting them point blank, and it's going Oh yeah, captured. Yeah, sure.
I love it. I think I love this game already.
So then, you clear the first room, and then apparently nobody in the second room heard you. And, you breach and clear second room, third room, and stuff.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I like that whole formula though, because the missions, they feel a bit too predictable with that formula.
Just sort of atomized, where it's separating these fights into like different chunks instead of it being one big fight.
Instead of being one big fight and having that like
that fear that you are maybe gonna pop 2 pods at once and it's gonna be real bad like for you.
Just that whole like slowly advancing in the darkness tension and like and then XCOM 2 would also have objectives that were like, hey, you've got to reach this thing in 5 turns or you're fucked. Yeah. So it would also kind of make you want to rush and then risk popping
and then suffer for you.
Yeah,
and suffer for it.
Whereas this one, like, so one of the things this one really annoyed me with is that there was one objective, and like as soon as you hit the button on this console, more enemies would appear, like no matter what or when you did it. So it was like, it was the mission I had to save scum a bit because I was just getting completely wrecked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, if I just like rush the button and hit it now, 4 more enemies appear. Or I could just clear everyone out in the room and then hit the button and 4 more enemies appear. And it's just kind of like, the way reinforcements in Fire Emblem would just show up and immediately get a turn, like it felt a little cheap. Like in general, the missions are just much more, hey, just storm and shoot everybody, move on.
Yeah.
And then the base management stuff is like dramatically stripped down. It's still kind of there.
Mm-hmm. Like there's probably still some research and things you can do like that, but it sounds way more streamlined.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like definitely the research is still there. Trying to remember. See, this is where like playing it a couple weeks ago, I've already started to forget. I don't think there's definitely not like the whole base excavation thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, there's like a map and it's like, oh, you can have like different research groups in each sector of the town. It's kind of analogous to the satellites in the first game, but like I never felt like I was getting that much from it. It's like, because it's like, oh, you can spend 80 intel to put a thing here, and then every week you'll get 5 intel back, and I'm like, that's not very good.
Yeah, the return on investment here, not seeing it.
Not the best clicker game upgrade.
So like, where this game kind of bummed me out is that the campaign also seems really long.
Weird.
It seems just as long as one of the other games. So like,
despite being kind of thinner in other ways.
Despite feeling maybe a bit thinner, because like the problem with these characters, all the set characters, is that they start off feeling pretty developed. Like you have 1 or 2 new abilities unique to them, and then they kind of stay that way for a while. And then, oh, okay, you're rank 3 now. You've got a new ability. It's just like, I don't know. They just, because it feels like it's rushing you to the mid game on the character development, it has less room to grow for them in the late game.
The late game, yeah. So like,
I could see.
Oh yeah. So the end game sounds kind of boring in a way.
Because it's like in XCOM, the 1 and 2, like your rookies don't have anything at the start. Like they can fire and you use items, and then eventually they don't even start with classes basically.
Yeah.
And then oh, this guy's going to start using shotguns now, or this guy can heal. Whereas like you start off with that stuff in this one, where it's like, oh, this guy has a shield and he can shield bash and he can absorb bullets with the shield, and he's got all the stuff like from mission 1. Or like this character is the healer and she can send her little drone to heal characters across the map, which is really nice.
So it's like a weird expansion pack, but
it's so long.
Yeah.
So the thing is,
because like I could see preferring that, where it's like, hey, we have this set loadout of predefined characters, and you need to work within this puzzle box instead of like building your own thing. You have to work within these tools. But that would be for like a shorter campaign probably. Because you're not doing that progression. It's like here's these set challenges.
It's definitely not set challenges, because I guess what I found out later is that when you do the tutorial, like your first 4 characters are just set after that, because it's a very balanced team where you have the healer, the tank, like the girl with the shotgun who's very good. I forget what the one was.
The trank shotgun, yeah.
Yeah. But so apparently, if you don't do the tutorial, then your first 4 characters are just kind of randomized.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird.
Because the Snake Lady wasn't part of my first 4. Eventually, you get a point where it's like, okay, we have ability to summon 1 new recruit. Which of these 3 characters do you want? And I picked the Snake Lady, of course.
Of course.
But like, I guess so. There's like, I'd say maybe 15 or so overall. But like, when you do the tutorial, you get the first 4 right away. So it's going to make that first playthrough for everybody very similar, unless you just immediately start over once you realize what they've done.
Yeah, which I mean, now that I know, why wouldn't I do that?
But maybe just like those characters, because I don't think they're inherently better.
Yeah,
it's a very balanced team. And boy, when my healer got injured and had to sit out for a few missions, that was fucked up.
That probably sucked.
That's when things started to go bad. Oh yeah, so the other thing is that characters can't die, even though
that's kind of
so
the
like if a character
pretty defining.
Yeah, if a character dies, it'll just go, "Oh, mission failed," and then not even just mission failed, like keep going because that sucks. It's mission failed. Reload your save.
Yeah.
But then like, I had a mission where like a character was knocked out, bleeding out, and then everybody else evacuated, and they were just fine. They were just like, "Oh, I'm still here. I'm just injured now."
Cool.
Which was weird.
I'm just bleeding out of my jugular. I'll be fine.
Because I remember
I like that they force you to play like every person plays Fire Emblem when they first try it.
Yeah.
Oh, a person died. Restart.
But like in XCOM 1 and 2, like if a character got to 0 HP, their odds of dying were like 90% at the start.
Yeah.
Like, bleeding out was rare, and only once you kind of developed them a bit and they got them a few levels, like did bleeding out become thing that would happen like half the time.
Yeah, you could get like mortally wounded and be out for a couple weeks or something, but it wasn't very often that like late game you'd get somebody one shot at the at the end of the game.
But basically, if they hit 0 HP and start bleeding out, then you have to stabilize them, or they'll still die, and they're still out for the whole mission.
Yep.
But in this, it's like 95% of the time, if a character hits 0 HP, they just start bleeding out. Like, I think I only had a character just straight up die once, and I was like, wait, that's in this? Like, what the hell?
What?
Because I remember in the other games, like, if a character was bleeding out when you finished a mission, they're just dead. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw when I was watching a bit of Giant Bomb's LP, and like they thought they did the mission right, and then it just had 2 characters dead at the end, and they're just like, "Wait, what? What the fuck happened?" The deaths in that game fucking hurt. They were pissed. But so like the thing in this game is that towards the start, you have like 3 different investigation targets. Like, oh, do you want to investigate like the cultists or the drug runners, stuff like that? And like I picked one, and then that whole like mini campaign lasted like 12 hours.
Oh.
And then it goes, okay, they weren't the mastermind. Pick one of the other 2.
Oh,
like,
no.
Wait a minute. I was like, if that had been the whole game,
that would have been fine.
But when I realized I was like a third of the way through this, I was just like, oh game,
that's bad.
You're maybe a little too shallow and repetitive for me, and I have put it down and haven't gone back since.
Ooh, that's a bit much. Like, I like me some XCOM, but that seems a little overboard for what this XCOM in particular is doing.
Yeah. It just seemed like they had stretched it too thin.
Yeah. See, like,
so
I thought what was going to happen is it was going to be like, okay, you choose one of the 3 things to do, and then that's your story for that game, and then, like, after you complete that, there's, like, maybe a final mission where, everything kind of coalesces, and then, like, each one is just a different route with different things happening in different kind of maps. I didn't think it was going to have to be play all fucking 3.
I was, like, shocked, kind of, when I finished it. Like,
astounding.
Oh, we're doing this, huh? It's weird, because the final mission of that first faction investigation, the difficulty dramatically went up. like the game was just sending, like, one wave was like 10 enemies, like, the whole breach thing. I go into this room, I'm just like, oh wait, what? There's how many enemies in here? And that's the one where, like, you hit the button and more enemies pop out.
Oh, nice.
And then, like, after a set number of turns, more enemies pop out, and then, like, you're right at the end, and then, like, there's like a teleporter and like this huge thing with armor pops out, and I'm just like, what the? So I had to save scum the shit out of that one.
Oof.
So like it felt like an end of game encounter. So for it, basically it went back to the whole, okay, now let's pick the other faction.
Right.
And I did like 10 missions into that, maybe not 10, but a few missions into that one, and the difficulty had just reset completely. So I'm just like, what is going on here?
Man.
Now I'm just like
Confused.
effortlessly breezing through these guys. I don't even bother tranking them anymore. I'm just blasting one-shotting dudes with the shotgun. And the game has just like taken all its teeth off. I'm just like, what happened? So that's when I just kind of was
Can you progress along like multiple routes at the same time?
No, it's totally just do the one.
Yeah, that's real weird.
Real weird. So it's sad because I mentioned how at the start of the year I just wanted to play more XCOM, and then they've made a game that's more XCOM, and made
it's too much XCOM.
That's why it was like. That's why it shocked me that this game came out. It was like literally like this is what you wanted, and it's coming out at the perfect time. When you've got all the time in the world to play it, and then it's like, oh no, it's kind of poopy.
It's just I just don't know why it's so long.
Yeah, like why is it so much?
But I mean, some people, I think it's mixed reviews. I guess I know. I think Brayliff on the Discord finished it, and I was just like, I got kind of bored of that about a third of it through. I mean, it's fine. If you got it for $10, it's like amazing value.
Yeah,
still.
like that's a lot of value. Like for a $10 game, it sounds like you're getting like a 30-hour plus experience, which that's kind of incredible.
A $10 game should have been a 10-hour experience. Yeah. Like it just feels bad about it. Because the whole thing about the whole three like different factions is that because when you start the game without tutorial, you can have a much wider variety of your starting characters. Like they should have just encouraged multiple playthroughs that way, so that you'd get to see all the characters. Because those first four that you start with, they're real good. I really used them a whole lot. And the Snake Lady. And those were kind of my 5.
It sounds like it's sort of a structure failure. Above anything else.
So, it's all right.
And by the way, it seems like you've kind of become like the strategy game expert here.
Yeah, like you've taken on all like your own thing now. You fight like instead of just being big dick boy and no pants boy and horny boy, you are now strategy boy. Look at you! You finally got you got your own coat of arms now.
We know what my thing is.
What is your thing?
Explosions in space.
Simple Gear.
It's Simple Gear.
That's right.
Yeah, that is a big thing.
You're the Simple Gear boy.
I said explosions in space, right? That's basically synonymous.
I mean,
with
it's on brand.
It is. It tracks.
So, Polly, do you have your one big thing?
I've got a small thing that I can go over, and if we're gonna toss it around again, I have a big thing that we can kind of close out with probably.
I've got one more thing. So
all right, well this works then. Well, I played
at least 2 more things.
Brad, you can. Yeah, you'll shower us with your stuff, Rhett, and then we'll just have our little things.
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to read the Sliders and Socks forums sometimes. There's a topic there where we talk about the things that we've been playing, and every once in a while you'll see some interesting entries kind of pop up in there. Ghosty had one a little while back. It's a free RPG Maker game. I played over the course of one morning. It was a fun little game. It was called Grimm's Hollow. It's a cute little RPG about a newly dead girl who kind of ends up in purgatory where she has to hunt down and reap ghosts in order to actually move on to the really, for real afterlife. Because, like, she ended up in the afterlife without a soul, which is weird. Like, the way this game kind of handles ghosts and souls kind of, like, I guess it's because of the terminology and what we've come to know ghosts and souls as they kind of seem like the same thing to me, I guess. But the game's kind of like, I don't know, I guess one's more important than the other or something. But basically it's explained is that, like, you get to the afterlife, you don't have a soul, but if you get big points, you get big afterlife, and you can finally move on. Like, that's basically it. And that's basically like this conceit of the battle system too. It's like even if the differences are between like what a soul and a ghost is, it's kind of a bit wishy-washy. But it's they kind of like, I don't know, like the story they harp on that ghost and spirit and soul thing a lot. Is a little confusing, but yeah. So it's an RPG Maker 2K3 game. Hey, John, I played an RPG Maker 2K3 game I didn't hate. Whoops.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy for you, Colin.
Very happy for me.
It's cool. It's not that you don't like RPG Maker 2003 games. It's that you didn't like.
It's that I didn't. It's that I didn't like yours specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is like
that's not even that's fighting, right?
It's a very well written game. The dialogue is loads of fun. Like the character, like it's got a small cast, so it's one of those casts that can really bounce off of each other really well. There's a lot of fun little visual gags here and there that they'll do with the character sprites and some of the face images that they use for the dialogue boxes. So there's some fun things like that. But it's also a very heavy game in dealing with loss, of course. This game feels like it's coming from a very real place. So when it starts kind of hitting into the actual bit of, these characters are dead, and it's, okay. Yeah, like so. If you've dealt with the loss of someone close, those feelings are still kind of fresh. Maybe don't go diving into this game, even though it's got some, nice quirky moments. It still gets pretty heavy near the end, especially when you go to when you embark upon the true end route, which involves like the main character and she ends up bumping into her brother, weirdly enough, who's like, why? I know I'm dead. Why are you dead?
Oh,
what the fuck? What's going on here? But they end up finding his soul while he's down here. And if you find your soul, you can go back. You can go the way the game explains it. Again, gets real weird because it confuses me, but. He can get, but if his soul is down here, we can get that back, and he can go back to life. But the girl's whole point is that, like, okay, you need to reap these ghosts, and you need to complete your soul, right? Okay, well, she completes her soul, she gets to go back to life. No, she gets to move on into the afterlife. It's like, well, this is confusing.
Okay.
Anyway, so it's got like kind of like a hacked up video game thing here where there are like 4 endings, and the ending you get kind of depends on how much you kind of engage with a bunch of combat, because it's a game where you've got this very unique kind of skill grid system where you have to like upgrade a bunch of stuff after battle. It feels very Helen's Mysterious Castle in a way, where you have to like upgrade your weapons and stuff, whereas this is just like there's a skill grid system, and you just upgrade all the abilities. If you upgrade all the abilities, that's how you get the true ending. So you've got to spend some time and grind a bit to get the true ending. It's not that hard.
Okay.
It's not that hard at all. It took you
it's not that time consuming?
No, it took me, I think, 30 minutes to max it out once I got the first quote unquote normal ending, which was still very sad and emotionally touching, but I think that the true ending is really what you should pursue, because I think that like that's the one that kind of teaches you more about like what somebody who's going through loss is dealing with, and you know. So there's that.
And then you fought the flower in a rhythm game.
And then you fought but it uses a hacked up RPG Maker 2K3 battle system. It's got some light command entry for attacks, so where it's just like you press the fight button, and then there's like a gauge that pops up, and you have to press a button to stop the thingy.
It's a custom battle system.
It's a custom battle system, but it's still very much operating on that normal RM2K3 ATB system.
Is the ATB system in there? Is it not?
It's there. It's there.
Oh, okay. So it is.
It's there, and that's why it kind of gets a little bunched up sometimes. Where sometimes, like I found myself, I would enter a command, but like with the way the ATB works, I would sometimes be entering 2 commands at once for 2 attacks, for 2 separate turns. So that I would attack, then the enemy attack, and then I would attack again, but it was just like that second attack that I just entered. So it gets a little wonky at trying to keep track of turns. But I mean, it's a not a terrible game. I think that like the way that it kind of deals with explaining spirits, ghosts, and souls is a little confusing, and I think that could have been handled a little better and a little less gamey and a little more just like this is a game that is about feelings. You very could have obviously just wrote from emotion here and not kind of made it seem so video gamey. Like, you know, like I said, get big points, get big afterlife. You know, that's kind of like the thing that's going on here. But and again, you know, it's very heavy. It did get me to bubbling a little bit with the ending, but it's a very sweet and a cute ending. I don't think that like the combat is all that hard or anything. Like with the way the upgrade system works, is you can basically upgrade anything at any time. So if you just like upgrade all of your stats really fast, like I trivialized literally all of the combat within the first 15 minutes of the game. So.
What the heck?
So none of the combat at all was at all stressful or strenuous in the least. Like by the 20-minute mark, everything was doing 0 damage to me, and the only thing that was able to do any damage to me by the end of the game was the end game boss. But it's not a long game. It's literally like 50 to 80 minutes, depending on how fast you get through this thing. It's free, so if you need something like this in your life, it's a pretty easy investment.
Cool.
I would say, hey, and it's got a lot of nice presentation to it too.
It's really pretty.
It's very pretty. A lot of custom tile work, sprite work. There's a kind of like one shot where they have a lot of these static. Really well done pixel art cutscenes in the middle to kind of tell the various points of the story. It's really good stuff. And like I said, it's a game that seems like it's coming from a very real place. It feels like, I can't really speak for the creator, but it feels like maybe this game was their way of kind of dealing with something. It feels like it's really coming from that kind of place. And I think that the things that it has to say about like how we process that kind of loss and stuff, and having been through some pretty major losses in my life, I was just like, yeah, this kind of is hitting a lot of that on the head. And I thought it was an overall enjoyable experience, despite the fact that like the combat wasn't super engaging because I'd broken it so early, and just kind of, you do the video game thing to get to the feels part, basically. And that part's good. That part's it's just a really nice little story. Definitely worth.
It's an RPG Maker game, so it's automatically good.
It's basically worth your time. It's an RPG Maker game. It's good RPG. It's on Steam. You don't have to like. I know some people are real picky about video games not being on Steam for some reason. Like, what the fuck? That's the weirdest thing. It's like I've mentioned to people that I've put out games before. Is it on Steam? Well, okay. I guess you're not going to check it out then. Never mind. I am not going to waste my breath in telling you where it's at. She's like, never mind. My game does not exist. Yeah.
The saying is no Steam, no buy. If it's free, you don't have to buy it. It's fine.
Well,
that's why all the no Steam, no buy people are really happy to go on Itch and browse the Bitsy games.
Oh yeah, they totally do that. Yeah, Grimm's Hollow. It was a nice little time. If you're down to,
duly noted. I wishlisted this after I saw Ghost of Post.
You wishlisted a free game. Like,
well,
I thought Rhett wishlisting and waiting for Helen's Mysterious Castle to go on sale was the most pathetic thing, but you literally wishlisted a free fucking game.
I'm not. We've had this discussion before. I don't wishlist it so that I buy it. I wishlist it because it's not going to be in my library until I play it. And I wishlist, and if I click wishlist, that's just a one-button press, and then I'll remember it later. Otherwise, I won't. Otherwise, I just have to like write it in an Excel spreadsheet or something. Like, hey, remember to play this game. It's just the easiest way to say, remember to play this Steam game later. That's free.
Yeah, and that's
okay.
Fine. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so I won the argument. There is what I'm saying.
No,
because you said
no, you win nothing.
Well, I'm right and you're wrong.
This is my podcast. I'm right and you're wrong. How about that?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's a joint thing. It's really me and your podcast, and no one else's.
When did this happen? When did I make that? When did I agree to that?
It's me and Reds actually taking over.
Okay, I'm fine with this. Like, if I don't have the podcast anymore, fine. I'm done. I'm out.
I'm
out.
Oh, we don't want to edit. We don't know how that works.
Polly, I have one quick little question about this game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you know if the 4 endings are that different from each other?
They are. They're not radically different, but they're different enough that you get a different kind of sentiment from it. But I think that I think that the ending that gives you the most valuable sentiment and like the most valuable information in dealing with laws comes from like doing the RPG thing and just maxing out every single thing. And the game is smart in that like once you max out your stats, it tells you it's like, okay, now now your soul is perfectly ready to move on. You can go fight the final boss now.
Okay, so that's what you did. You got the good ending.
Yeah, I got the good ending. I looked up how to get it because I got one ending and was like, I get it. That was fine. I wasn't 100% satisfied, but I get what you were going for. And it was like, it too was a good sentiment, but I'm here for the bigger sentiment and what you're...
The big cathartic end.
The big cathartic end. That's all I need. Give me that big
one. I want to cry.
I want to cry. Exactly. And to be fair, the other ending did make me cry too.
Okay.
I just think that the true ending...
I want to cry a lot.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to cry more. That wasn't enough cry.
Video games as stories are just always weird when like some arbitrary thing will just lock you out of the good ending.
That's like fucking JRPGs with true endings for the longest time, or just like really old visual novels with like weird shit like Steins Gate has this dumb the dumb email system that like literally none of the choices that you answer in those emails apply to what ending you get. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird arbitrary. You answered the phone this time and not the last time. What the fuck?
I remember getting like the bad or the middle ending in Binary Domain because of like character affection stats.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, video game stories are kind of dumb sometimes.
Yeah, that was real fucking stupid. That game's real good though.
It's real good.
I like
I just
Binary.
thought about that again.
Yeah, I like Binary Domain a lot.
Just when games like intentionally fall on their face at the end because of arbitrary stuff.
Yeah, just like, I have to be a video game now. Sorry, I was an artistic statement until an hour ago. Now I've got to be a video game because a guy in a suit said I have to be a video game.
Player agency.
Yeah, that's Grimm's Hollow. It's really good. It's fun.
Cool.
It was good. It was a good time. 5-minute break.
5-minute break.
We will be right back in 5-ish minutes or so.
What?
But I said poop!
Poop.
Poop.
Polly, month 2 of quarantine.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Just shouting poop at the wall.
That's what we do to show solidarity with our neighbors. Is every evening at 7 p.m. you go out on your balcony and you just shout poop. That's how that goes, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought. You hear that?
No.
It sounds like white noise.
Oh. That might be John's
Okay.
microphone being on or something.
Okay. Because I know it's not me.
Oh, I was muted.
Wait. I hear it, though, too. Let me mute real quick.
Weird. Well, it's not Rhett.
Polly, can you mute too?
I will mute. Okay, I muted.
It's just Skype, I guess. That's weird.
Fucking.
Have I been on the wrong microphone this whole time? I'm gonna mute now and then you tell me. No, that wouldn't make sense because I was still muted. God, I'm so confused. Whatever.
Whatever. Fucking.
Hey, do I sound better now?
You sound fine.
All
A
right.
little bit better.
Yeah, that's probably on my shitty laptop mic. Oh well.
Whatever.
Whatever.
John.
Ah.
Hey. You were up to something else apparently.
Yeah, I was. It was something pretty fun, actually.
Fun. Fun. I thought we only engaged with media to cry.
Well, maybe crying for different reasons. I watched. So I rewatched because I'm just going through all of YouTube trying to find like something, anything to keep my mind busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I rewatched Matthew Matosis's playthroughs of Demon's Souls.
No, not Demon's Feel.
Demon's Souls and Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like 9 hours. So I got like 9 hours.
That's
of Souls
a
content.
lot of
Holy
Souls
crap.
content.
Mm-hmm. And it reminded me, oh man, y'all, I really like Souls.
They're okay.
I love those games to bits. They're extremely good. And I got my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should play another FromSoft game.
Oh.
And then I thought I could play Bloodborne.
You
But
could.
that's like a 30 or 40 hour game. That's a lot.
That's a commitment. That's a commitment.
That's a commitment. And
I don't know. I feel Bloodborne is a top 15 game of the generation or decade.
I believe it. I'm gonna get to it. It's on my like top ones games I want to play. But it's a commitment. It's still a commitment. So I was like, is there a short FromSoft game I can play? Something I can just kind of chew through in a couple days.
Metal Wolf Chaos.
Oh, God.
I did not play Metal Wolf Chaos. I did play the original Kingsfield.
I've played this video game.
Did you play Kingsfield for PlayStation in the US, or did you play the original Kingsfield only released in Japan?
I played the US Kingsfield.
That one's actually Kingsfield 2.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
And there is a Kingsfield 2 released in the US. That one is actually Kingsfield 3.
Yep.
It's pretty joyous. So Kingsfield 2 was so the one you played was on How Long to Beat was 20 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The original Japanese game was only 10 hours. And I was like,
Nice.
man, that's a nice, short, breezy little adventure.
Right.
And my understanding is that Kingsfield 1, the big difference is that it's divided into five floors, whereas Kingsfield 2 is like a big open
old world.
So Kingsfield 1 it's sort of like the Demon Souls to Kingsfield 2's Dark Souls. So I was happy to jump in at the very first one. I was like, I think Kingsfield 2 is going to be better.
Yeah.
But this was a nice appetite whetter. I had a lot of fun with this game.
I figured you would. This seemed really like, this is prime John content.
Yeah, it's so Kingsfield is a first-person dungeon crawler for PlayStation. There were 3 games on PlayStation and 1 on PS2. That's most of it.
Yeah.
That's most. they're very minimalist. Like, there's not a lot of story. There's not a lot of dialogue. The combat is extremely simple.
Oh yeah, it could almost be called sluggish. I know that it takes a long time for that sword to swing on down.
So it's simple, but it's not like it felt pretty okay to me because it was like clear. Like, they have the enemies make a clear sound when they've been hit.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of like finding the timing for each enemy. We're like, okay, the enemy starts attacking now. I have to be this far away from them that do not take damage, and then I need to start my attack and then start moving forward at this time, so that when the attack reaches the end, there's just like enough levels of complexity there to make it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately it's very simple. You have magic, but you don't have an easy MP restoring solution for a long time, so I mostly am just whacking things.
Yep.
The first like couple hours of the game, I did not have a map.
Nope.
And I was petrified because I was like, do I get a map later? Because this is I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. I think this is too hardcore for me because it's not even on a grid.
No.
It is the walls all turn in topsy-turvy way in like irregular angles.
Yeah.
So it would have been very difficult to map out. So I just played it for 2 hours, mapping out the first floor in my head. And the way I do that is I'm just like exploring out in such a way that I know that I've fully explored everything behind me.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you do it. It's like, okay, I don't know exactly what happens, but I know I've explored everything from behind this choke point. And if you do that, then you can explore. If you just keep, and then you explore out to this one area and it's a dead end, so you know, okay, now I've included that in the area that I've explored. Everything from this choke point forward is new area. Yeah. And you can kind of break it down that way, and keep it in your head without being able to, even if you can't like recall exactly where everything is.
Right.
And then you do get a map, and I was really relieved. But it doesn't just trivialize it because the map does not show everything. So that it just makes it manageable right when it starts to get unmanageable. Is that there's a map that shows most of the level, but then there'll be large chunks where you do still need to map it out in your head. And then at the very end of the game, you get a map that shows everything, and that's cool.
Good progression.
Yeah, it's a nice progression. So this game's really hard up front. Like, I found a skeleton, and then it killed me in one hit.
Not surprised.
And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be one of these. But after after I found some enemies, I found some easy enemies that I could kill, and then I raised my health up. And that's the other thing. The Dragon Spring, which fully restores your HP and MP, that doesn't start you. That is dry when you first reach it, and the only way to start it is to do a side quest on the first floor. So you don't get access to free healing until you do a side quest, which I was really pleased with.
That's fun.
Yeah. So the thing is that once I got past that like first 45 minutes, that like hump at the start, it actually got really easy for most of it. That was kind of most of the game for me was, okay, yeah, I've gotten the armor I need. I've got the heal point now. The combat is mostly trivial now, so now I'm just kind of focused on mapping out this space, and that was a little disappointing because you know the games have a reputation for being really hard. So
obviously,
the very last floor upped the stakes a lot, which helped kind of make me feel better about that progression because suddenly like every enemy's a boss monster basically. Like you fight the first boss in the game on floor 4, and then it immediately is a regular enemy on floor 5, and I'm like, yes,
I'm here for that.
Yep. So most of the game it's very open with the progression. You don't get power-ups or anything to unlock doors. There are some keys, but I did not. You get the keys in order. Like in order to get the key 2, you have to go to a door. You have to get a chest behind a door locked by key 1, and etc. And I got to floor 4 of 5 without finding the first key.
Oh wow!
And I kept thinking that whole first 4 floors like, surely I missed it. Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe surely I missed it.
Wait,
Did I miss it? I thought I explored third.
did you not actually miss it?
No, I missed it. I missed it on the
okay.
first floor because I mislabeled the door as locked when it wasn't. And the reason the second floor is blocked with an arrow trap constantly shooting arrows, and you can walk through it and it instantly kills you. Unless you've leveled up a good amount and got some pretty good armor, then you can just kind of tank it.
Oh, it's kind of poopy.
So I was like, but if you just get the key, then there's just a switch you can turn off the arrow trap.
Oh, wow.
But I, in my infinite wisdom, was like, I guess there's no way around this, and I just walked on through. Ow, that really hurts. Oh well. Chug some healing herbs. So it's kind of my own fault that I missed that.
Yeah, that's on you.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was like very smooth. Like I didn't really run into any real roadblocks with the progression stuff at all. I missed the one side quest to get the Moonlight Greatsword. That's in every From game. Which the walkthrough on GamePack said was I found this out reading the walkthrough after I finished the game. They said it was mandatory to fight the final boss, but I just pelted the final boss with wind magic and chugged healing.
Nice.
And I won after like 2 minutes of just doing that continuously. I find it's not super deep, but it is scary because the very last floor is just a bunch of enemies doing like big attacks to take out like 2/3 of your health bar. So I was just like walking through the final area, just like chugging healing every two, pausing, just chug healing every 2 steps. And then I got to the final boss, and he's just like, take out 2/3 of your health, take out 3/4 of your health, take out 2/3 of your health. And I was just like, pause, heal, wind magic, pause, heal, wind magic.
Nice little rhythm going here.
The economy kind of breaks very early. Like you get way too much gold, so you can just have as much healing as you want, basically.
Nice.
So, all in all, like, I think King's Field 2 is supposed to be harder, which I'm happy about. I think
remember that game being pretty hard.
Yeah. This one was not, and King's Field 2 also has a run button.
Yep.
Which would be quite nice.
Because man,
I would have appreciated that for this one.
King's Field is still very slow, though.
Yes, but this one does. King's Field 1 is the one that came before that, and it does not have a run button.
Right.
Now you can just run through the spike trap.
Just run through the arrows. It's fine. So this was mostly the game part was a little bit flimsy for me, but the mapping out the maze part was really satisfying because you get to floor 4 and there's just nothing on the map. So it's like after being able to kind of breeze through the first 3 floors, you really have to think again for the 4th floor, and it's beefy.
Nice.
And I managed to miss the map about halfway through that and mapped out the whole floor in my brain, and then got back down the map and it's like, oh, okay. So it was a really pleasing, like it didn't blow me away or anything, but I definitely want to play the next one.
Yeah. I think that one's going to land a bit more. I've played a significant portion of King's Field 2, and I know that younger me was not super into it, but I think I would get it more now. I've just never really thrown it in.
Because the fighting is like that.
Yeah. It's that.
It's like that.
Yeah, and that's the way it is.
And that's the way it is. It made me think of Hydlide, actually. I was like, I'm kind of vibing with this.
Don't ever want to think of Hydlide.
That was very sweet when the last podcast, I was like, no, Hydlide kicks ass. And then the entire chat backed me up, and I was like, yes.
Like, if there's one thing that proves our audience is literally comprised of the stupidest people on the planet, that would literally be it.
It turns out that Faerun, Game of the Decade.
I would wipe this site off the face of the internet. It would not deserve to live anymore. Like, I could not be the one to put that kind of misinformation out into the world. I would exile the site myself.
Tom mentioned Echo Knight, which I want to try. It's more adventure gamey, as I understand it, and just no fighting. And I want to try Armored Core.
Armored Core is some cool shit, but you kind of gotta tune your brain into what it's doing.
I've looked at footage of the first game, and it's just gorgeous.
Yes.
So I expect it to be like kind of taxing to figure out.
Yeah,
but
it's you've got to put the time in.
But it's also mission based, which sort of helps make it a little bit more accessible, I think.
Yeah.
So I might try Armored Core sooner rather than later. That game looks my speed. There are a lot of those games, huh?
There's a shit ton of them now. Yeah.
So there's From made a lot of games. They made a lot of games.
I'm looking at the From Software Wikipedia. I did not know they had so many games.
Yeah, they've made quite a few of them their video games.
Echo Knight, Shadow Tower, Kingsfield, Armored Core, and then a bunch of other like one-off stuff.
Yeah.
The Adventures of Cookie and Cream.
I did notice The Adventures of Cookie and
Cream.
Yep. Metal Wolf Chaos is Polly mentioned.
Ninja Blade? Huh? Anybody?
I don't know Ninja Blade.
Oh my god. Released 6 days before Demon's Souls.
Yep. I know. Somebody we used to associate with actually worked on the localization for Ninja Blade.
Cool.
No, yeah.
So this is the start of my you'll notice From's output is a lot less eclectic these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty on brand now.
I just can't get over the release of the Ninja Blade though being literally the
6
Japanese
days.
release.
Yeah.
6 days before Demon's Souls, both in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, they obviously had 2 teams working, and they just finished at the same time.
Yep. And one of them wound up a little bit more in the direction that the company went in.
Yeah, weird how nobody's heard of Ninja Blade.
And there have been like 10 Armored Core games or something.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any for several.
I don't think they make
anymore.
I don't think that From makes the Armored Core games anymore. I think they they sold that IP or something.
Oh, that would stink.
I don't know. I don't remember
to see them do a new one based on
it would, where they are now.
Their games have gotten a lot prettier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sekiro, very good looking game.
I just like seeing all those because it's just like that's maybe a future obsession. Like what we're gonna. Like maybe this time next year, it's like, I just finished my 6th Armored Core game. This is how they rank. This is how it ranks with the previous ones.
You gotta go into Armored Core the way Rhett went into balls deep into Yakuza. Is that
or just go balls deep into Yakuza, and then I want something I can play on my PlayStation instead of on the same fucking computer at the same fucking desk I work at every day.
I will say that kind of like something that I played around with recently. It was just like, being away from a computer felt nice.
Even if it's just like 15 steps in the other room on a different screen. Yeah. It's still a screen, but you know what? Yeah, let's do that. This is good. This is better. So this was the table setter for my Kingsfield journey. We'll see how things go from here.
I think things are probably going to go well for a while, I would say.
Yeah, I have a friend with it who has one of my Twitter friends has the world record for speedrunning Kingsfield.
Oh, really? Interesting.
The person that did the music for Kikai.
Oh, that's neat.
Yep. So
they of course intentionally missed the first key to run through those spikes. They were trapped.
Most likely. Because most of that's the other thing is because the enemies are mostly easy. Most of the chests are kind of and there's not a lot of like progression gating.
Yeah,
most of the chests are kind of useless.
Yeah, that's bad.
So that's something I'm kind of hoping with Kingsfield too is that it'll be harder like that. Exploring will be a little more satisfying.
Yeah.
Rhett, what else have you been up to?
No, I thought you were making fun of my game of the decade list because I mentioned to Polly every single one of my blurbs is I liked exploring this game. That's what I like doing in games.
Yeah. It's like, that's kind of a thing that you've always been into, though.
I know. But then my blurb for Breath of the Wild was just the best exploration ever.
I like Kingsfield more than Breath of the Wild.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
On brand.
That's... Shut up, John. Nobody likes you. I don't even give a fuck about Breath of the Wild, but it's just like, shut the fuck up.
I wasn't going to go there.
Going to the shut the fuck up area.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm not
I was just like, well, no, I totally believe that John likes Kingsfield more than Breath of the Wild.
I think I'm probably going to like Kingsfield 2 more. I don't know if I can really... I think I did have a lot of fun with Breath of the Wild, so that might not be accurate. Now, right.
Anyways, I watched an anime.
Yo, anime!
Tell us about it. So you rewatched Symphogear again?
It's not Symphogear this time.
Oh, okay.
I have had that feeling recently where it's like, man, I just can't watch action shows anymore.
Oh, man.
Or shows with singing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, right. I actually forgot until just now that I watched season 4 of My Hero Academia. It's not very good.
You know, that's common sentiment that I've noticed.
The pacing of that show just fucking...
flatlined.
Paul, you thought it slowed down before?
Yeah.
It slows way down.
Is Big Booby Spider Girl still around?
No, I don't think so.
Well, then the show's garbage.
Yeah. And people were saying, like, oh, this anime adaptation of it is actually faster than the manga was. The manga was 40 chapters, and they turned it into 14 episodes. I'm just like, that's still pretty slow for one thing.
Yeah, there's a Big Booby Spider Girl, Raven. She's pretty good. She's got sharp teeth, too.
In My Hero Academia?
Yeah, she's a spider girl, something.
There's a lot of girls in that series, and they don't do anything.
Yeah, because they're women in a shonen property.
Yeah, but it's just so fucking...
Yeah.
Anyways, that's not the show.
I associate the girl with the spider for some reason. She gives me spider vibes.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she doesn't do the season either.
Yeah, she's
still there.
Yeah, she gives me spider vibes for some reason. She's really good. Yeah. She's good.
She has basically never done anything of much value.
Of course, because she is a woman in a shonen property.
Anyways, I watched one of the anime of the decade, Keep Your Hands Off Isaacen.
Oh, I know about this.
That should be like...
Oh, this one sounds really nice.
This is the one that's got that art style that everybody was memeing on for like a month.
That opening that everybody loves with the 3 poses.
We've got there's even a Sockscast cover in the back. Yeah, there's one in the chamber. Don't worry, we got one.
Oh, it's not this episode.
It's not this episode. It's in a future episode.
That's definitely.
I've heard nothing but good things about this show.
Hey, this show's really great.
Yeah.
It's by Masaki Yuasa.
Yeah, Yuasa,
who does the good shit.
Yep.
And sometimes extremely violent and horny shit.
So much good shit.
Yeah.
His career has really kind of taken off the last 10 years.
That really makes me happy because being familiar with and enjoying a lot of his work, I'm very happy that like he can find a little more universal praise for what he does.
Like I saw Ride Your Wave was one of the last movies I saw in theaters, and it's like, wait, didn't you just do like 5 things? And he just had this movie
busy. It's weird.
Yep.
Because I swear there was one point where it seemed like he did a Kickstarter thing for Kick Heart that didn't really do very well, but then he's really rebounded anyways.
Yeah.
This is a show about 3 girls in high school, and they form a club, which is a little generic. I was a little weary based on that premise, but then the goal is they want to make an anime because 2 of them are big anime fans, and then the third one ends up being like the manager.
Yeah.
Aww.
And it's just these characters are really great. Like you could just talk about them for hours. Like the main girl, like she's really into like technical drawings and machinery, and like so she'll just fill up scrapbooks of like, what is this flying machine in this fantasy anime I want to make in my head? How does it work?
Yeah.
Who pilots it? Like she just has a vision for like sci-fi stuff that is like practical in the universe and stuff, and like how does it work?
Yeah.
And then one of the other girls, her like comes from a family of, I think it was dancers or entertainers, but like she's all about movement and animation in a more like general sense. So she does all the character animations, and like the other girl does the background animation and stuff and like the technical machinery stuff. So like it's believable and like down to earth. It's a little ridiculous, obviously, like especially like when they actually show the films that they make. Like, this would be really impossible for two people to make.
Yeah. Or if two people made it, it would take 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, they do at least give them some amount of time where it's like, we're behind schedule. This thing is coming out in 4 months. Like, they are giving them some amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, the final film that they make in the thing is, like, 8 minutes long, and it's, like, just, you know, it's the actual animation studio flexing a bit.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Always enjoy that kind of shit.
Yeah.
That's really nice still.
The whole film within a film thing is really fun, and they do that several times in this because, you know, they make several shorts over the course of the series. And it's such a good love letter to animation in general because, and like, I just thought about the making of this show itself must be super weird conceptually because they're having characters talk about making shows within their universe and then having to do like their own design documents. Like, it's a show where characters are talking about storyboarding.
Like, that's
and like setting up cuts and frames, and I'm just like
animatics and shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, wait, but then in reality they had to do storyboards and cuts of these characters talking about
storyboards and cuts.
Or like when a character looks at something and thinks about how they could animate that, and you realize, but I'm already looking at an animated version, but the show is presenting it as real. It has that funny just kind of abstraction layer on top of everything.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it is like their imaginations will kind of spring out into the real world, and like they'll go on adventures like
and
it has a very kind of sketchy art style when they're in the fantasy. So like it's just very inventive and imaginative and a lot of fun.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, highly recommended.
This is definitely on the old to watch list for sure.
Yeah.
Are you watching this? Are you watching this through a legal means or otherwise?
It's on Crunchyroll and
good.
VRV.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should watch it.
I guess should I just hit my last thing for right now?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
That was kind of short. I played a video game.
Video games. I know what those are.
We like those.
So I played The Evil Within 2.
Oh yeah, I knew you were playing this.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, because you played the first one. It was really spooky.
I played the first one. I had some issues with the first one. It's a very ambitious game, and it's very rough in a lot of places. Like specifically, like the bosses.
The bosses are terrible.
The bosses are rough. Like when they kill you in one hit, and you have to start the whole encounter over. So then, basically, the reason I didn't play Evil Within 2 right away is because I was like, "Oh, I'm going to play the DLC for the first game, which is stealth only."
Oh,
I hate stealth. That'll go great.
Fuck that.
So finally, when quarantine hit, I actually kept it installed the whole time, even though the game is like 60 gigs.
Yeah.
But I finally gave the DLC a shot. It was like, I hate this.
I absolutely hate it.
And then like a couple weeks later, I was like, oh, right, Evil Within 2 is on my list, and I can play that now because I said fuck off to the DLC. So I played Evil Within 2, and I didn't like it as much as the first game.
Oof! Big oof! So what happened? What?
It's really weird. So like...
This seemed like the better game, though!
It is the better game. That's what's so weird.
What the fuck?
Okay, I will explain this.
Okay, make this make sense to me.
The thing I'd always heard is that Evil Within 2 is way better. It's such a huge upgrade. You know, like people seem to really vibe with this one in the way they did it with the first.
Right.
Here's basically the best explanation I can give. They have smoothed out the rough edges to a point where I think they lost the identity of what that series is.
So it's a little more
doing the video game sequel thing.
It's a little more homogenized, and
it's way more homogenized. There's way less. Like, it's funny how, like, admittedly, a lot of the things I kind of bitched about in the first one, once they were gone, I was like, oh, like, because the first one is just this psychedelic, not psychedelic, but like is this roller coaster of environments and like locations.
Yeah.
Like I kind of griped about how you never feel like you're getting anywhere because, like, you could just be anywhere at any moment because it's like, oh, now you're in a burning barn, and now you're in the sewers, now you're in a city that's falling apart, now you're in a mansion, and there's a guy stalking you. Like, it's just all over the place.
Yeah.
And you're kind of vaguely trying to make it back to this mental hospital that the game began in. Even within 2, very grounded setting. There's a town, there's an underground, and that's 90% of the location. Like, and a couple buildings you go in. And, like, the game never upends your reality in the way the first game ever did. And, like, there's... The funny thing is I still didn't like the bosses in this game. They're just not quite as one-shot bullshitty, but they're still pretty annoying. Like, the first one, like, just rushes at you with a huge axe, with, like, spinny axe thing, and your character's movement still just isn't really meant to deal with that. Like, and then I realized, after looking at a guide, like, oh, if you just run around this environment, there's these things that trigger, like, half-speed time dilation. That's how you beat the boss. What? I was just like, wait. You didn't really tell me that at all.
That's really dumb.
It's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. It just felt like the enemies and environments were just way too samey for the whole time. Even though, like, the game itself plays better. Like, I was enjoying this for the first few hours because, like, one of my favorite parts in the first one was when it kind of became like Bloodborne for a bit, where it's just like, oh, here's like a medium-sized area that you can go through at your own pace and, you know...
Explore!
But then this game opens with, hey, here's a whole town to explore.
Oh, okay.
And then I realized, like, oh, it's like that cool section in the first game, just like 5 times bigger. The problem is that then when it's like 3 hours later and you're like, I'm still here, I'm still kind of creeping my way through these areas. And, like, it even has the exact same progression of weapons where it's like, oh, now you've got the shotgun and now you've got the bow gun.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's just like, okay.
Even Resident Evil has never strayed from, you get the pistol, now you get the shotgun, now you get the bow gun, or the missile, or the rocket launcher.
Yeah. Even, I felt like the Resident Evil 2 remake, like, the guns in that aren't...
The guns in that game are interesting.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, maybe because of that I would use Claire, and she's got the crossbow stuff that's a little... Or and the Uzis. It's a little different.
I like the charge gun. That thing was fun as shit.
But I don't know, it just felt like they just really kind of stretched out, you know, what was... worked in the first game.
Like the small idea, they kind of just took that and stretched it, but didn't really they didn't really strengthen anything, so it's stretching it really thin.
Yeah. And it's funny though, I still see debates on forums of like which game people like more, and it's like, I think a lot of it comes down to like how much you can appreciate ambition versus like mechanical flaws.
Right.
And it's definitely where I will always go with the thing that's flawed, but like really out
Going
there, which is basically Symphogear, if I'm being honest.
The Evil Within, it's basically Symphogear.
Oh my god, definitely not.
The Evil Within 1 has a lot more Symphogear energy than the Evil Within 2.
I will say that. That's because like that game's crazy and it made me mad. There were sections of that game that were so stressful and hard that I didn't want to play it anymore. Whereas this game was like not scary at all, never really felt threatened or anything. It's just a very pleasant, gentle romp. Which is kind of not
just what you want from Shinji Mikami.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did do Shadows of the Damned, which was a fun romp.
Okay. The other thing in Evil Within 2 that kind of drove me nuts is there's one villain towards the start that's pretty good, and then like 2/3 of the way through the game, you beat him. You defeat the villain.
They do the Far Cry 3 thing.
Yeah. And then immediately there's a new villain. And then immediately, like same cutscene 5 minutes later, there's a third new villain. I was like, wait, what?
What?
So then the whole rest of the game is dealing with villain number 2. You beat him, and then like the final boss is villain number 3. It's just like, okay, you're just...
This sounds...
going, oh...
New
and like
villain,
each one, they just kind of each, like the second villain, like when he takes over, it kind of changes the visual theming of the same areas that you've been through. So it's like, oh, now everything's on fire, which is cool, but it's like, I'm also kind of going through the same areas here, you guys.
Mm.
And then like the underground stuff is just painfully boring gray corridors.
Yeah.
That lasts way too long. The other thing is like, people say, oh, the story in 2 makes a lot more sense, which is fair. It makes more sense this time. I just thought it was really dumb. Because I like, the entire time I kept thinking there's going to be a moment where this game pulls out and you realize it's all not actually happening. Because, like, you know how in the movie Inception, where it's like dreams within a dream and stuff?
Yeah.
And, like, the whole thing in that movie is you're not sure if the real world at the end is actually
happening. Right.
Is actually still in the dream or not.
Yeah.
I thought for sure towards the start that this whole game was actually still, like, without completely spoiling what's going on, I thought, like, the real world stuff still was actually within the dream, basically.
Was still within the evil within.
Yeah. Because the whole plot of this game is that his daughter, who died in, like, a fire 5 years ago, is actually the core of this entire thing. And I'm like, oh, this is clearly bullshit. And then it, like, plays it entirely straight.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like,
no.
And I'm just like, but why is the daughter still, like, 7 years old? Shouldn't she have at least aged a bit? Nope, we're not going to do any... Nope,
we're not gonna explain
we're
that.
We're just playing it totally straight. Daddy's got to save his little girl. So the whole story for, like, 20 hours is him screaming about needing to save his daughter. I thought for sure they're going to lampshade this, and they don't.
Oh, that's funny.
That's unique.
Mikami directed the first one. He produced this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just again, that means anything.
Yeah. I think that explains some of it. It's a better playing game. It's not like, I think I summed it up pretty good at the start, where it's like they smooth out the rough edges.
Yeah.
Which is such a video game thing.
It's like
every Ubisoft franchise is like, hey, we made an interesting game, and now we're gonna fit it into this other thing.
Now we are filing it down to where it has no identity and no rough spots at all.
God, I remember when I played the first 3 Assassin's Creed games, like 1, 2, and Brotherhood.
Oh, man.
When I got to Brotherhood, it was just like, wow, this is just not the same thing already.
Yeah.
This is just open world collectathon.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the first game at least tries to make you an assassin, and then after that, it's just like, yep, checklist time.
Yeah, it's just time to find some birds.
God, that was like... There was a point in my life where I knew where everyone I was listening to was talking about Assassin's Creed all the time. God, that's weird.
Well, one was ambitious. 2, like, you could start seeing the video gamification of it happening, but it was still interesting. And then, like, when you move to after that, it's just like, oh, we are just in it now. We are peak Ubisoft.
We have a boat now. That's something, right?
I played all of 4 and barely remember anything.
Oh man, people were so horny for that one too.
I think what happens
so horny for a pirate game.
I think what happens is after a while, like, they get into the Ubisoft kind of thing of like, oh, okay, I know what to expect here. And I think that every time that a new one gets announced, they get the idea in their mind that this is going to be the one that really breaks away from the pack, that changes the entire formula, and then they convince themselves of that for a bit, and then 6 months later, they don't remember the game that they played and they were splurging about. That's always been the cycle I see with every fucking Assassin's Creed game.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't played the latest 2, but they seem that those are the ones that really did actually change it up, because there's like levels and RPG stuff now that just like they have made those games play like Witcher 3 as far as I can tell.
Yeah, they're just
because it's like I see stuff like you can't sneak up on an enemy and just kill them anymore because if that enemy's level 60, they'll just live.
They'll just yeah.
Which is like, oh my god.
Nice way. Like, we were already taking the assassin out of Assassin's Creed anyway, but this is just the most blatantly stupid way to do it.
Yeah, and admittedly, I haven't played those games, but they just sound like, oh, it's like if you just can't get enough open worlds, play some B tier ones.
That's exactly what those games are.
God.
And
I was thinking of Dead Space. It sounds like that series also kind of got its identity taken from it.
Dead Space 1 and 2 are great.
Yeah,
I was thinking of,
1 and 2.
But 3 is a hot mess.
I'm never going to play 3 even though I have it.
Our publisher told us we had to make a video game for the Xbox 360 crowd, and guess what we did?
I think Dead Space 3 has like microtransactions.
It's got microtransactions and co-op.
And co-op, yeah.
Yeah, it's forced
because Resident Evil did it.
Yeah.
This is making me want to replay Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 is fantastic.
I haven't touched that game in 10 years.
The great trilogy of Resident Evil 4 games. Resident Evil 4, Dead Space 2.
Yeah. Yep. That is a solid hot list of games that I can get behind.
Cool.
Life is good.
Yep.
So I also played the newest Tomb Raider. It's bad. That's it.
But you played it with classic Lara Croft skin though, which is really fucking good.
That's by far the thing I enjoyed the most. And you want to know the horrible truth, Polly?
What?
When you're in a certain location, they restrict your skin usage. So I played about half the game normally because it forced me to.
Oh, fuck that.
So it's like the first quarter, I didn't even realize there were the skins, and maybe I didn't have them yet. And then I find it, and I'm like, oh, this is really fun. And then like an hour later, oh, you're in this town now, and you have to dress like the natives do. So no more Tomb Raider 1 skin for like 5 hours. And I'm just like, oh, this sucks. And then I finally got away from there and could use it again. And then for the end game, back to
fuck off. If I can't kill the boss's PlayStation 1 Lara Croft, get the fuck out of here.
Apparently people were so pissed. After you beat the game, they patched it in so that you could use whatever outfit you want for the entire game. But you have to beat it first once.
Okay, cool. Nailed it.
Yeah, because like when I think replay a game, Tomb Raider jumps right to the fucking top of the list.
Oh, but you could buy the DLC Tombs. I'm not joking.
You said you played 3 of these games and liked one of them. Was that the first one?
The first one's good. The first one, but the first one is probably only good now by virtue of just being this incredibly different thing that the other Tomb Raider games weren't. And even then, I think games like Tomb Raider Legend and Tomb Raider Anniversary are probably the ones worth playing.
Yeah. I mean, this game was frustrating to the point where I was like, did I even truly like the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot?
If you went back and played it, I'm going to say no.
Like they've just so lost the. After thinking about it, I think that game still was good. They just completely lost the plot.
Well, they started turning it like Tomb Raider 2013 was sort of like faux open world stuff, where you were still kind of like, it was more of like a quote unquote Metroidvania, whereas the rest of them actually turned into open world garbage.
No!
See, that's the thing about the new one.
Go ahead.
The new one's probably less open than 2013 was. That's what's shocking about it.
That's weird.
It's like all these locations that aren't really connected properly. I'm sorry, John, I keep cutting you off. It's just like you get a shotgun, and it's like, oh, now with the shotgun you can blast open this certain type of barrier, which is a thing from the other games, and then you do it literally one time right next to where you get the shotgun. Like, they just stripped out the Metroidvania stuff in this one.
Christ.
It's bizarre. It's just this linear 10 hours, 15-hour slog, and the end game snuck up on me so suddenly.
So you're saying this game is a shadow of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
You see what I did there?
I thought the story was like hitting the third act, and it just goes point of no return, and then an hour later I was done.
Wow.
And I was just like, fucking what?
Oh my god, that's funny.
I think they had no budget or something. Anyways.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that the one interesting factor about Shadow of the Tomb Raider is that it's like, it is one of the only linear AAA games right now.
Yeah.
Because all the rest are doing the Ubisoft open world thing. So it's like, oh look, you actually just made a string of set pieces. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But there aren't also that many set pieces in this one.
No.
And I just saw a topic on Reset Era bitching about this game specifically right before we did the podcast.
Nice.
Where they they were so mad about this game because the game starts with Laura stealing like this magic dagger and triggering the apocalypse, and then you run through this Mexican town while people are dying because of what she just did. It's a bad way to start your video game with making her like.
She's not very likable, is she?
Yeah,
she's really never been like a good person.
No, exactly. Mm-hmm. And this one really rubs that in your face at the start, but then doesn't actually go anywhere with it in the story.
That's kind of like all of the Tomb Raider games as of late. They've always tried to have this real like they really want you to think of Laura as a real character, and then like 5 minutes in, like, yo, she's Rambo now.
God, I have to show you the screenshots. There's this one hilarious part in the middle of the game where she's like, she's had enough. She's coming for blood. And she like creeps out of the lake, like covered in blood with a dagger, and just fucking jumps on this guy and stabs him to death. And I had the PS1 skin on.
That's so good!
It's very funny. I'm not joking when I say like 90% of my enjoyment of that game was because of that dumb skin.
Just because of that fucking dumb skin.
Well, because now it feels like I'm actually playing as Laura Croft.
Yeah.
Instead of whatever imitator they have.
Like the thing that they keep trying to insist is a character, but is really just like, no, she's just Nathan Drake, but less likable.
The worst is how the first one, 2013, ends with her like holding up the two twin pistols.
Oh my god!
And then Rise and Shadow don't have twin pistols as a fucking option.
That's so stupid.
She never becomes the Tomb Raider.
No, she literally does. She's literally a shadow of the Tomb Raider.
The very final shot of this game has like a cartoon, like 6-year-old drawing of a T-Rex, and I'm like, okay, is that the signal that they're going back to the first game now or something?
What?
Are they closing the circle?
What does that mean?
There was a T-Rex.
There was a T-Rex in the first game.
No, I know that. I'm just like, what would that mean at this point?
Yeah, like it feels like, oh, we're just doing things because, like, hey, guys, there was a T-Rex in one of these. What if we did this? Like, nobody that's working on these things now has anything to do with those old games anyway. So
apparently, this is really deep. There was a different ending in the day one version of that game that got patched out.
What?
It's a minor thing, but apparently, like before the day one patch, if you beat the game, there's a slight different scene at the end where she's like writing a letter to a character from the original games, but they removed it afterwards.
What the fuck?
I like that you tried to glaze over this, and we were like, nope, you got to tell us about this one. You are our way of seeing into the world of what's happening in the outside world of the AAA games. We don't know. Tell us.
Unlike Evil Within 2, I am definitely not alone in disliking this one.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like this game was kind of universally shit on.
Yeah.
Weird. So there were just no linear AAA games that were like good last year, huh?
I might know.
I think Pauly might know one.
I might know of a linear AAA game that we all might have some interest in.
Interesting.
So
okay.
But I was very excited to complete the previous episode of the podcast that we were recording the last time we were together because earlier in that day I had just received a very nice present from somebody. Oh yeah, and it's been something that's been on my mind for the last 3 weeks. I've been buzzing inside about it the whole time. I played through the Final Fantasy VII remake. And man, this is gonna be a hard one to talk about, but I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna spill. I'm not gonna spoil.
Okay.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, obviously, but I'm just gonna I don't know how to talk about this other than just going over point by point of I like this and I like this and I like this. And Rhett, feel free to jump in. I know that you played as well, so feel free to jump in and wallow in it with us. We need to get John in on this too at some point.
I want to jump in.
You've definitely got to play this because I think that there's a lot for you in this video game that I didn't think would be there, but there's a lot of John stuff here.
I don't even know what that means.
That could mean so many things.
Yes, it could. So, all right. So, just right off the top, I in no way am ashamed to say this game had me by the feels the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
From that opening cinematic of you get the view of Midgard, you start zooming in, we're cutting to the train, and we're cutting back out, and you've got the shot of Eris, and everything is just like, it literally punched me in the chest. I had to pause the game and just like, oh God, it's 23 years later and this is happening. Oh God. And it's like I said, the last time when this had just come out, I didn't realize how I guess truly emotionally connected or invested in this game I was until I started seeing it. And then like when I'm finally sitting there and actually starting to play it and it's in my room now and like I'm the one experiencing, it's like, oh God, I'm feeling everything. Like the game just kicked me in the chest with a boot of nostalgia plus 99. I was breathless seeing that entire fucking opening sequence. Just, because it is a moment like when I played the game, the original game, and that opening scene happened, I had a similar feeling of, oh God, I'm seeing something incredible right now. Like this is next level. There was not direction in video games like this prior to Final Fantasy VII. At least not that I had experienced. Yeah. So kind of seeing the new take on that and how mind-blowing that was, like those two moments in time, like, you know, from 3 Sundays ago and 23 years ago, they came together in this weird moment. And I can't explain how I felt. It was an incredible feeling. So I guess we'll go like down the line. Like, okay, with characters. The characters in this game are fantastic. I think that a lot of these characters are already iconic, obviously, or they would not have endured and be as beloved as they are now. Even with that clunky ass original localization, a lot of those characters and a lot of those lines and things still fucking land. And what you get now is a bigger version of that, with these characters having voices, having a large range of motion, facials, just everything that kind of like brings them to life in ways that you would never kind of like even with Advent Children, even though they were kind of doing a lot of next gen like 3D stuff with it, I think that the stuff in this game looks way better. And it's way more emotive and it's expressive. Yes, go ahead.
I think Advent Children holds up well for how old it is. Like you can see similar designs like between that and this.
Yes.
But it's like that was also a fully rendered movie versus the fact that this game does so much of it in real time crazy.
Yeah, like there's obviously pre-rendered stuff in this game, but there's a lot of it that is just straight up done in engine and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna go over the characters. We'll go over. I'll go over like Eris. Eris is not a character that I gelled with a lot in the original game. She just didn't land with me for some reason, and I think that like the way that it may just be like the way that we all sort of interpret things. Like whereas like okay, Eris now has a voice. Eris has a range of motion that she never had before, and she's probably the reason you want to play this video game.
She's so good.
She is. You can't deny her bubbly personality, and with the voice acting, there's nuance now in how that she carries herself, and how that is at odds with this sadness that she's very clearly carrying with her. And the actress is really good at pulling both of those things together, and like these little moments that humanize her, and like she's not perfect. Like there's a great Eris does a cuss, y'all. She almost falls down and it's like shit, and it's just like this cute little humanizing moment where she's like this. She's like, you know, like I feel like she's kind of always been painted as this perfect character that's kind of like very like a little bit more than human, but like that little moment of just like slipping and almost falling, you're just like shit, just getting frustrated. It's so perfect. I was not expecting it, and I sat there laughing my ass off the whole time. But she's such an amazing character. Tifa's character got a nice kind of... I think that there's a new layer to her character that I don't know if it didn't come across well in the original or I just didn't catch it. But I feel that she's more complex now, where she seems very kind of at odds with what Avalanche is doing, but she's she's also unsure of how else she can make a difference. So it's kind of like, I can't do anything but this, but I don't know if I agree with it. And like the way that she kind of rides that conflict through that storyline is really good. Her interactions with Cloud and Eris are just so good. Barrett,
I think her stuff with Cloud is very much more in line, I think, with the second half of the game. This 2 stuff where it's like she isn't quite sure how to act around him because of what she
knows. Like what she knows, and like because like that's the thing that like we have that context now where we've played this game 23 years ago, and we know what the big thing with Cloud is, and like
unless you forgot because the translation wasn't very good and you played it 23 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was 4 years old, just as a reminder.
Oh my god.
But hearing, but like knowing that like Cloud make these big declarations and some of the characters around him know, and it's just like, and it lands so much more again because there's voice acting there, and they were given that direction to kind of have that hesitation in their voice of like, yeah, you did that cool thing,
It definitely feels to me like Tifa is just carrying this sadness with her. And she's not sure what to do.
Whereas in the original, like for the whole first dish, she just seems like she's pining.
Yeah,
she's just pining kind of mentally.
Yeah, like she.
Speaking of pining,
Barrett,
Jesse.
Barrett is our good man. I love what they did with him because obviously he was like kind of just a bad Mr. T kind of stereotype in the original, and his portrayal was a little unfortunate in the original, if we're being honest. This time around, he's like kind of a big lovable oaf, but also like he's got these big grandiose speeches about what Avalanche is doing, and at every point you swear that somebody's going to be calling him out on his bullshit. And it's just like, it's like he's giving these big full-throated speeches and like nobody is really biting, but it's an interesting way that they're writing his character. Cool. And that he's full in on this whole spirituality, like freeing the planet from what Shinra's doing. And like this terrorism is the only way we can do it. And it's just like, but he's also got these big, great moments of just being incredibly silly. Like, he sings the goddamn Final Fantasy victory theme when he levels up. and his scenes with Marlene are just so sweet. Like, oh my god. Like, they're so good. Like, they've really kind of nailed that fatherly kind of feel that they wanted to have in his character originally. And again, it's all in the voice actors doing what they need to do. And of course, Cloud. Cloud is like the coolest not cool boy ever. And it's so... His dialogue is written so fucking sharp it'll cut you into pieces. Like, they handle him so well. Like I came out of this game just like... I never was like the biggest Cloud fan in the world. I never thought he was that great. I came out of this game really loving what they're doing.
He's not just Gloom Cloud. He's not just having children Cloud.
Not at all. No, they've given him so much character. He's very he's very quippy. He is.
I like that.
He has a very sharp tongue for everybody around him, and it's a very welcome change from just like trying to be like the brooding bad boy, and like, but they have those moments, and it's just quite literally he's bad at it. He's just bad at being the badass. Like, everybody's just kind of like, yeah, okay. Sure thing, buddy.
Oh, that's funny and good.
Yeah. Like, it's all in the characterization. And that's, like, the biggest biggest strong suit of this game, if anything. It's the characterization. And, of course, you've also got the Wedge, Biggs, and Jesse. They get...
actual characters now.
And they're really good. Like,
Jesse's very horny.
Jesse's going to horny jail, which is literally her home. I think they do a really good job of writing her, though, and Erica Lindebeck just knocks it out of the park with that performance, too. She's just so good. She was also English Uzume, if you were curious. Yeah. Yeah. She's really good. That's the big thing that I took away from this game, is just the characterizations are really strong. I came away just from a third of this original story. Like, I came away loving these characters more than I did in the 200 hours I've played of the PS1 game. Like, I came away loving these characters even more. And it's just because you get such a bigger scope of who they are, and it's just they're so good.
See, for me, it was interesting because I think what I liked about this game is how much they fleshed out basically everybody else as well. Mm-hmm. Like, all those Shinra employees that you don't get a whole lot of time with, they really do everything they can with them, I think.
Yeah.
Especially because, you meet a lot of them pretty late in the game, like characters like Hojo and Scarlet.
Oh, my God.
They're not there very much, but they do great stuff with them to really make them stand out.
Yeah, characters like Heidegger, Scarlet, and Hojo. Like, Hojo especially is just my God, you fucking creep. You are they nailed his animation and facials so well. He's such a fucking creep.
That's basically everyone in this world is beautiful except for him.
Except for him.
I'm really interested in their depiction of Hojo, because the way I heard it was that he's almost fake woe. I don't know.
It's really they went a real fun direction with him that is very true to what he was in the original game. It's just blown out to such a degree that it's so admirable.
Excellent.
He was one of those characters where when you look at his PS1 sprite, you're just not sure what they were going for.
Yeah.
Because the graphics were so primitive.
Yeah, but now you get the full detail, and it's all in the facials for him. It's just him talking is disturbing for some reason. They did such a good job. And the Turks are really good.
Yeah. Good.
Reno and Rude are incredible. Holy shit. Sung is gorgeous. He is a very gorgeous man. Man, but yeah, so much good character in this game. So much.
I think maybe it's because you don't get to play as him, but Red 13 also.
Yeah, Red 13
seems kind of forgotten a bit.
He definitely even he's kind of a little more quippy than I would have expected, and he falls into the dynamic really well with these characters you've kind of spent 30 hours getting to know.
Yeah.
And they drop him in for the last 5 or so hours of the game, and he manages to fit in and feel natural, and is able to kind of just in terms of bouncing back and forth with everybody in the same way that they have, with that familiarity. He falls into that naturally, and it's there's a great moment where Barrett wants a high five from the dog. And I laughed so hard. It's a real good moment. Yeah. So if you know the story of everything that kind of happens in Midgard, this game kind of follows that for the most part. It sprinkles in some extra stuff that we mentioned last time, the side mission stuff is really not good.
Yeah, it's the more I think about it, the more I was man, it's really not worth doing, huh?
No, it's there are a few that have some decent materia behind them, I guess, but I did all of the side quests up until the last chapter where you can do side quests, and then I just
14 is way too many. There's 9.
There's 9 that pop all at once, and I'm just I'm not doing any of these. I think I did 1 or 2 of them because the rewards were good, but then there's one where it's just yo, go fight a Tonberry and get nothing for it. Yeah, okay. That sounds real fun. But I don't think that the side content, like the battle simulator stuff, I don't think that content being bad brings down the game at all. Mm-hmm. And people seem to just be engaging with it anyway. Like, so it's like, hey, if that's your thing, fine. But it's just like, at a certain point, I was just like, I'm ready for this story to go where I want it to go, because I know that the Shinra building is next, and I really need to know what they did with that. They did a real good job on that stair scene. Holy shit.
It's hilarious.
They got like 8 minutes of just constant dialogue back and forth with everybody, and it's just so good.
The stair scene is hilarious because at the start I'm like, oh, this isn't going to take that long. And then
it literally
starts to get a bit ahead of you.
Oh, yeah.
Then Barrett and Cloud, they start moving a little slower.
Yeah, they actually slow your movement down.
Oh, they slow you moving way down.
So good.
And like Barrett is just huffing it. He's like 3 floors behind you. And he's just like, man, I just want to die.
So it's like, it's funny because in the original game, like, that's the quiet way in.
Yeah.
But if you actually think about the real, it's 60 floors.
Yeah,
you'd be fucking exhausted. You're not gonna fight after that.
They make you run all 60 fucking floors. And they're slowing you down. They're slowing you down the whole time to give you the impression of being tired. So it takes like 20 minutes to get up here.
It's not 20 minutes, but I think you're closer with 8. But it's definitely a bit.
It's a good moment. Like, I'm glad they did that. I am so glad they did that. And like the actors were clearly having a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah.
There's so much good dialogue in that little scene.
It's a really dumb thing that you can do that the game doesn't acknowledge it. I just did it just to see if you could. I did the stair scene, got to the top.
Tried to go back down?
I went back down.
Oh my
God. And then I ran back up the stairs.
Oh my God. Did the game...
The funny thing, though, is the second time you go up the stairs, it doesn't slow you down at all. So it just takes like 3 minutes.
Oh, and the game doesn't acknowledge it, I imagine.
Because it's so stupid. Like,
yeah, it's like, who's going to think to do that? Like, I know that there's a point where Barrett, like, in the middle of the run, Barrett's like, yo, can't we just go back down and do the elevator? It's just like, dude, we're already halfway. And the wall market, holy shit. That game puts you in a really awful boss fight right before that moment. And like that could have really ruined the whole thing. But then right when I got to what we were going to be doing in Wall Market, the big scene, we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was hyperventilating by the end. How good. Like, I had trouble focusing on the minigame because I was laughing so hard. If you watched me play The Somnium Files on stream and we got to the ending and my reaction to that, if you thought my reaction to that was, like, you should have been here and heard my reaction to Wall Market, because I don't think I've been so delighted, more delighted in the last 3 weeks than that moment.
That's so nice.
It's so good. It's coming from such a good place. It feels really, it feels really nice.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's probably easily the best scene of the game. Just that whole sequence.
Whole thing. It's perfection.
I mean, what I heard specifically was that they shifted the focus. The joke was that Cloud was uncomfortable being in a dress, not that Cloud was in a dress.
Yes.
So it's doing the Trails thing.
Yeah.
Which is so nice.
Everyone is super supportive.
Yeah, and he has such a great fucking line afterward when you hook up with Tifa. Holy shit.
I was going to mention that too when you meet up with Tifa and it takes her like 30 seconds to realize it's
She's
Cloud.
Just like, holy shit! And he's just like, yes, I know, thank you, moving on.
No, he says, yes, nailed it, moving on.
Yeah, yes, thank you, nailed it, moving on. And this like it's line of the year. Like there is no line in a video game that is going to top that line. I'd be fucking rolling. So the battle system is a thing. I think the battle system is good. It takes a while to get used to. What I like about this game's battle system, though, is that there's specialization everywhere. Every character has a use. They're very unique in what they bring to a battle. You can build their materia and weapons around that, but ultimately they are kind of still focused on that job. It's just you can sort of change a few of the parameters of how they work. Like the weapon system and the specialization, like it all is like all of this stuff kind of started in Final Fantasy X and worked its way through 13. And this game has a lot of Final Fantasy 13 DNA in it. Yeah. Especially with regards to the battle system being as chaotic as it is. The stagger system is pretty much just Final Fantasy 13, the stagger system. The way the environments in this game is paced out is Final Fantasy 13 top to bottom. Interesting that Final Fantasy 13 is getting its due 10 years later under the guise of Final Fantasy 7, but so be it. I think that like the part of the battle system, I think, and the battles that feel the worst are when enemies are fast and can zip around the battlefield. Because even if you lock on, the camera just can't keep up, and that can feel real bad. Go ahead.
Enemies in the sky always never felt great to fight.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some parts, like one of the early side quests when you're like in a kind of an abandoned building or something. Yeah. Like the way the camera would get hung up on the wall, and I'm like, ooh, this is real bad. Ooh, this is going to make Polly so mad. That's what I thought.
Yep. There were definitely a lot of, oh God, I'm mad moments. Oh man. Like I am glad that they included a certain enemy in the game, because as soon as they trotted it out, I was rolling in the floor. I just hated the fact that I was fighting it for the next hour, very angry.
You mean the Hell House?
Oh, God,
we know you mean the Hell House.
The Hell House. But the Hell House is a constant, like, I looked it up, and, like, that's, like, the boss fight in the game that people seem to just get real caught up on, because it's got a bad fucking gimmick. It's really, really bad.
It's so weird, because I kind of had the same moment, but it didn't break bad for me, where it's like, I had the reveal of the enemy, I was like, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then the fight was kind of annoying, but I beat it my first try, so I wasn't that mad about it.
I spent 24 minutes my first time to lose. And then I lost more. I lost that fight like 3 times. Before winning. But then I went back recently and I refought that fight and was like, I did it like in one go. But I know the gimmick now and I know how to time the gimmick out. But like the time that I won felt like luck, because it just didn't do its move where it's invincible a whole bunch. Yeah. It only did it for 5 minutes instead of 12.
So my impression though is like, well, I guess this is what I get for not bringing the assess materia.
Yeah. Yeah,
because that's the one time I didn't have it.
Yeah, if you don't know the gimmick.
Yeah, but I could see that there was a barrier, and I'm like, well, obviously it's something to do with that. I'm sure I'm just stupid, and not everybody's going to get hung up on this boss like I am right now.
Nah,
and then everybody
fucking hates that fight. Like, I would not be surprised, because I know that they patched a lot of stuff with Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah. I would not be surprised if some of this game kind of ends up getting patched a little bit. But, man, I don't know that I can say much more about this game without going into spoiler cast territory, though.
I mean, we'll probably have a spoiler cast.
Which I think we probably should.
Polly, can I tell you the truth?
Sure.
1 week ago, when we were going to do the podcast, I was going to tell you to kick John off the call for the last 20 minutes so we could have it out about the ending of this game.
That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to close with is that if you thought Square Enix, like, we're going to come into this project unafraid to kind of play with their sacred cow in a certain ways, you're going to be very surprised. For better or worse, you'll be surprised. I guess.
And maybe some people on the podcast believe for worse.
Yeah. Interesting.
I finished this game in kind of a bad mood.
Oh no! Oh no!
I haven't said anything about this on Twitter at all, but I finished this game like kind of just throwing my controller up in the air, just going, sure, fucking sure, whatever.
I know the big change to the climax. So,
and then I finished the game and I got to the save file, like, save your game for New Game Plus thing, and I put my PS4 into rest mode. I didn't turn it on for another week.
Oh my god, the ending of this
then,
game pissed you off, huh?
So then when I went back to it, the ending of this game erased the game from my memory.
Oh wow.
I forgot about everything that I liked about it with those last hour.
Oh my god.
I was really kind of bummed out.
What this game does is 150% my jam.
Oh, this is delicious.
It'll be interesting to hash that out on a spoiler cast at some point.
Absolutely.
It's truly amazing because, like, right before things, I was, like, having such a good time, and I thought, oh, this is the... At least right now, I would call this my game of the year.
Uh-huh.
I can't now, though.
Oof. Oof. This game left me feeling all sorts of ways, and like and all of those ways are the best ways. Like, I fucking love this game, despite the fact that the issues that I had while playing it and a couple of the hang-ups of some of the boss fights I think are kind of bad. I fucking loved this game. I think it's fantastic.
Cool.
But yours is not an opinion that I have not heard, because I've listened to a couple other spoiler casts from people whose opinions I like listening to every now and again, and they came away from it, like, one of them literally came away and gave this game a 0 because of what they did.
Holy shit. I'm not at that level, but...
Yeah, like, they thought it was grade A super dumb.
I mean, it is. That's the thing. It is.
It is my kind of dumb.
I mean, I can't believe I'm the one with this, though, because I like dumb. I like simple.
You do. Yeah, you like dumb. You like simple gear.
And yet, this was the one where I'm like, you guys went too far this time.
I think...
I can't follow you down this path.
I think... All I'll say is I think they had to. That's all I can say. Like, yeah, I can't say any more, because if I do, we have to actually talk about it. And we can't do that right now. We have to wait.
Okay.
And don't even talk to me about it beforehand. We're gonna do a spoiler cast on this. I want your freshest. I want these feelings to be fresh. I don't want to know about them. So yeah, I loved the Final Fantasy VII remake so far. I think that what they're doing is fantastic. I loved what they did with the characters, the battle system. Hopefully they'll tighten some of that shit up next time. Hopefully, like, the RPG stuff will feel like, because I didn't really feel like I was engaging much with an RPG with this game, but it also kind of feels like a half step in that, like, the action isn't super good either. So I
felt like towards the end, like, when you're really using the ATB on the...
Yeah, like, that's when it feels good. But, like, for, like, for the first 20 hours, I didn't feel like I was engaging much with RPG.
Yeah. I think the ATB on the other characters should be a little faster so that you're getting to use moves on them more often, because I think that is the most fun part, where it's, like, setting up several attacks in a row to go off.
Like, I had so much, like, Tifa was my go-to character for the combat system. Like, I absolutely fucking loved using her. Like, the way her character is set up is to just combo into infinity, and she gains ATB. She gains ATB quicker than anybody else, so you just throw on some unbridled strengths, use a triangle attacks, and go into something like Star Shower, and she's literally just a damage machine. She leaves Cloud in the dust. Like, literally, she was like her attack stat was something like 80 points higher than his on his best weapon. You kidding me?
Yeah, but he has a big sword. They look cool.
You're not wrong. Like, I like that you can see the materia in the weapons too. That's pretty cool.
And that's how you know the cutscenes are real time, because you can see the
you see the actual materia you're using, so you know that they're actually rendered in real time. Like, that's cool shit. Final Fantasy VII Remake's pretty rad, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rad. So do we have anything else, or are we going to go ahead and get ready to kick ourselves out of here? What about you, Rhett? You done?
No, I'm done, yeah.
All right. Well,
I stuck everything on that I wasn't going to talk about Tomb Raider, and I stuck it on anyway.
Just stuck it on anyway. Why not? I want to thank everybody for coming out. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, of course, for the bits and the subscriptions. Those are always appreciated. John Thayer, where can our lovely internet citizens find you?
farawaytimes.itch.io.
And what about you, Red? I know that they can find you out there somewhere on the internet, the cosmos that is the internet.
I mean, I guess just keep an eye on socksmakepeoplesexy.net in the future for the game of the decade.
Yeah,
posting.
we're gonna start. Like, it's gonna take us probably a month or two to get this whole thing together.
Oh, I don't know about 2 months, but
well, at the very least, it'll take a month.
Yeah.
And then, like, once we know how we're gonna present that, because like I said, I kind of want to do like the final reveal of like the last X number of games as a podcast. I think that would be fun to do.
If you're going to make any edits to your posts, do them before the end of today.
Yeah,
Is that fair? Like, there's no.
I mean,
no
by the
grace period
time
for that.
by the time anybody's downloading this, it's already going to be past that time.
True.
So
Fair enough. Well, if you're listening, I'm alive.
yeah, like if you're
and
here,
basically what I've done. Yeah.
yeah. But like we're
Basically,
gonna put a big finalized stamp on that list. Probably close the topic. Probably in a few more days once we know people have got their lists out and they're still working on them, and we want to give them a chance to get those in. So I mean, you got a chance to get some last minute edits in while we're waiting, but like we're not talking like complete catastrophic list change here. That'd be crazy.
Don't do that, please. Because like, if you edit your blurb right now, I won't notice. If you edit the order of the list, I might end up with the other one.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess that's going to do it. We're going to get her out of here. We'll be back again in another couple weeks or so. Again, thanks again for coming out. And remember, we're the podcast that love you. We're the only ones that love you. And that's a podcast.
That is a podcast.
That is. That's what I would call a podcast. We
I
sat
just had
here.
wine for the first time in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. No.
I'm feeling it. If I got a little quiet there, that would be that.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me see here. Well,
I just kept forgetting to bring new ones. That you get new wine at the Walmart, and then I did yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, I'll pull this out," and now I'm like,
Oh. Okay. All right. Who are we gonna send you all over to? We're gonna do our who's streaming? I'm gonna look. We'll throw you somewhere fun. There's somebody playing Final Fantasy VII Remake now. He's playing hard mode.
Oh my god, that is a number one.
He's playing hard.
I just saw Peaches post today.
Oh,
I was surprised.
I have not looked.
Totally fair. Like, no judgment. It's just whoa, interesting.
I just saw that too.
We're gonna go raid our good pal Phenomenon. He is looking like he's gonna probably put the kibosh on Lunar 2 tonight. I don't think he knows that game's got like an 8-hour epilogue. Nobody mentioned that, by the way. Don't tell him that. Don't tell him I told you that. But we're going to send you on over to him. He's playing that good video game. So we will catch you all next time. Same Socks time, same Socks channel. Get out of here.